And I have brought with me the chat box of chatting. Yay, says 363369 Kyonkochan 369 369 369. Oh, someone hosted me. Maybe that's why. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Oh, now the internet doesn't want to show up. Is it up now? There we go. Okay, here it is. Okay, so I think we have everything good to go. I'm just going to put on some music and we can begin the chill. Just got to find something that hopefully isn't copyright. Okay, hopefully that's not too loud. How's the volume level on it? Is it coming through, like, just barely? I just want it to be, like, really quiet background audio. So is it, like, still drowning me out? Or is it, like, barely... You can't hear it at all? You sound clear, bro. The music isn't drowning you out either. Okay. All-knowing crab. Okay, well, let me know if you still can't hear the music, all-knowing crab. But Kyonkochan, you say it's good, so yeah, we'll roll with that for now. It's not drowning you out, but it's kind of loud for BG music. Oh, I thought I had it turned way down. Is that on a separate thing, or no? Okay. I just have to do it here, like this. Okay, so like that, it should be pretty quiet. Porn music. I mean, if jazz doesn't make you passionate and want to make out, then what will? To not love jazz is to not be... to not be. And you know what bees say? They say, do you like jazz? They sound good. Okay, so yeah. We're gonna just goof around with tier lists. And I am taking suggestions, so... yeah, we'll see what we do. What the heck, I has no audio. Did you make sure your volume is on? Because I think so often when you join a stream, it's muted. Oh, he's not gonna hear me. Yeah. When are you gonna play Lisa the Painful? I could play that sometime. Yeah, just remind me. And I'll try and play it sometime. Oh shoot, how am I gonna be able to see chat and this at the same time? I did not think of that. Dope. Shoot, what do I do? Oh, I know. Oh, no. Oops. Unsoiled Raptor. Kyonkochan is... No, I'm not. She has the... No. A giant conglomerate... I'm not reading anything where you say I'm... diminutive. I disagree. Post-apocalyptic games are fun. The game is sad. Get this to pop out. Ooh. Sorry, just smacked my mic. What the heck? I thought this was... Oh, there's the dashboard. Oh wait, is it showing me in... No, okay. Okay. Whew. My screensaver came on. Oh no! How lewd. I guess I'll just have to check the chat every once in a while because I don't have a second screen. That's my first big thing I really need to get. Like, being a streamer without a second screen is really hard. Because not being able to have chat, like, right in front of me sucks. And I want to be able to follow when you guys say stuff and interact. So, yeah, sorry about that. But I'll try and keep up with chat as best I can. Oh, what? Firefox closed? Oh, shoot. Oh. What the HE double hockey stick is going on here, eh? Okay, we're back in business. Imagine using Firefox. Yeah. My RAM thanks me for it. Oh, who followed? And that is too far to the back. Let me fix that. Okay. Yeah! Phoenix Slayer, thank you so much. Okay. Oh, I keep forgetting what I'm actually trying to do is these tier lists. So yeah, we are doing Rome's and Roman Successors tier list maker. Yay! After this, you guys can, like, suggest something for me to do. Oh, we got another follow. 369 Kyonkochan, thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have... What's the first one? I can't read these. This is terrible. Okay, let's find something else. Anime and manga. Okay. You guys let me know when you see one you want me to do. I'll let you guys look over it. Slowly scroll. Oh, Dragon Ball Saiyan transformations. That's a good one. Okay, so... Oh, anime waifu one. Where's the anime waifu? 600 plus? Oh my god. Oh my god, that's insane. That would be a good one for a special. We'll have to keep that one in mind. That would be a good special one to do. Anime manga girl. How many are in here? Oh, that's a lot. That is a lot. Holy moly. Oh, what about this one? My anime list, top 100 most popular anime. You guys can watch me shit all over your favorite anime. How's that sound? You guys, actually, this will be great. You guys can get an idea of like my taste and stuff. Okay, so trying to see, like, you guys get a decent view of this? I guess so. Is that better or worse? Yeah, it's kind of the same. Just fill the screen. Okay, so first up we have Bacano. That is going in Masterpiece because it is. It's hard to explain why it's a masterpiece without going into a lot of plot spoiler details. But yeah, it's really good. Very few flaws. Definitely watch it. Naruto. I'm gonna put Naruto in amazing because it's actually really good. It has a lot of low. Actually, you know what? Downgrade to good because I just remembered how much filler it has. If it weren't for filler, it would probably be better. But yeah, and what is it? Shippuden? Yeah, Shippuden is basically the same thing. So actually, I'm gonna put Shippuden as all right because the first Naruto was a lot better in my opinion. It's partly because that's what I grew up with, but it's pretty solid. Fairy Tail, I'm gonna put as bad. I don't think it's particularly good. It's been a long time since I watched it, and it's one of those shows I've classified as totally out of my frame of like view because it's just not um up to snuff for what I want from things. So I'm gonna put it as that. Oh wait, I should put it as haven't watched. I didn't notice the haven't watched. Because yeah, it was more based on the manga, and it's like, well, if I don't like the manga, I'm not gonna watch the anime. What is this? Darker Than Black? I haven't watched that. I haven't seen it yet. I kind of know the gist of it. I know about Hiei, Japanese Electric Batman. Next one I also haven't seen. What is that one? When They Cry, I think, or something like that. Just because it's not really my cup of tea. It's like kind of a really hardcore. It's like really hardcore, kind of violent and dark, and I don't like a lot of stuff that's too dark and. Oh, this is Cowboy Bebop. Masterpiece, absolutely. You'll notice I already have two things that are masterpieces based on having jazz music. There's a trend there. Another one I'm going to put into haven't watched. What is this one called? Something My Familiar. I know the pink-haired girl's name is Louise. She's voiced by Rie Kugamiya, and she's like a very atypical tsundere, so she's like, it's alright. It's a good, like, newbie anime, but not for me. I passed it over, definitely. Okay, now we have... Is this Dragon Ball Z or just Dragon Ball, the whole thing? I'm gonna put as Masterpiece, because it's friggin' Dragon Ball, and yes, it's bloated, yes, it's tiresome, yes, it's stereotypical, yes, it has issues with pacing, yes, some of the attacks and power-ups are ridiculous, but god damn it, it just has so much feel and genuineness to it and a love of what it's trying to be that I think that's what sucks people in. Like Dragon Ball, people love it because it isn't the most amazing, I think. I mean, it's well done and it has ups and downs, but it's consistent and it's very honest. And yeah, Goku's really fun. Neon Genesis Evangelion. I'm going to put this at amazing. When I first watched it, it was a masterpiece for me. But it's kind of drifted over the years because I think it's a bit overrated. near the end, it really gets full of itself, and it shows. And even Hideaki Anno, I think, admitted that the show near the end really kind of lost some of its direction, and he wasn't really sure what to do. So, it's made a lot better once you watch the movies that come with it, as like a companion piece. The end of Evangelion, something people debate about the proper pronunciation. So. Angel Beats, I haven't watched. Again, not something that's really up my alley. I don't know, I think it's a mixture of the style, and it just seems like another high school teenagers with power or something, and just kind of glanced it over. Here we have Toradora. Toradora is all right. It's not good. It's not good, but it just never really pops, and it has a really slow pace, and it only gets good kind of near the end, but it's a really slow burn, and I found it really tiresome to sit through. So it's all right. It's all right. Okay, what is? I can't make out what this one is. I'm gonna have to put that under haven't watched because I can't make out what it is. Same thing with that. Haven't watched. Black Lagoon is pretty good. I respect it for what it is, but it's not really something I enjoy watching. I found it was a little bit too much edge for my taste. When I was younger, I probably would have liked it better, but now it's kind of meh. Black Butler is not good. I tried to watch a bit of it. It's really bloated, very dramatic-y, very Shota, like, just kind of showing all that. It's kind of boring, so, yeah. Next we have, what is this one? Samurai Champloo, so that's Masterpiece. Because it's just a great mix-up having hip-hop and feudal Japan, and everything about the style is amazing, and if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Fate Stay Night, I'm going to put under bad. I'm not a fan of the Fate series. I especially don't like Fate Stay Night. I like some of the more recent entries they've done have been fun, and I like more of the comedy spin-offs. I actually really like Carnival Phantasm, but I find the actual games themselves are a little too serious and a little too, just, I don't know, just doesn't resonate with me or something. It doesn't hit me right. High School DxD. I'm going to put High School DxD as not good. It's not bad, but it's like very harem, very generic, and like if you like it, you love it. High School DxD is great, but if you don't like it, then it's just a slog of an anime. You're going to be rolling your eyes so much at the fan service, and the main character just like gets handed all this opportunity and stuff that's just, it's hard to digest, but it's great if you're someone that, is in their target audience. And, someone else would probably rate this a lot higher, but for me, yeah, not really my thing. Not terrible, though. I don't fault it. I really respect it for knowing what it is and being that very strongly. This one I haven't watched. This I don't know what it is, so I'm gonna have to put under haven't watched. Hunter x Hunter I haven't watched. I can't make out what this is, so this is another haven't watched. Excel World I haven't watched, but I know about it. Just not my cup of tea. I don't know, I just was not really into the whole VR world concept or something, so just didn't really work with me. Oh, Sword Art Online. That is bad. Sword Art Online is a bad anime. If you like Sword Art Online, you were bad. But there is one Sword Art Online that's not too bad. So, we'll see. I didn't see if it's in this list, but if it comes up, I'll rate it a little higher. What is this one? I think this one might be Minami K or something. I haven't watched it. Bleach, I'm gonna say, is... Bleach is not good. When they do filler, it's a lot more painful than a lot of other shonen shows. It's really strong early on. Like, some of the early seasons of Bleach are fantastic, but because the manga starts to bloat, you really feel it with some of the later seasons, I find, so I don't think it really worked that well. Batum I haven't seen. Maggie I haven't seen. Psychopaths I haven't seen. This one I haven't seen. This one was that Date Alive. I haven't seen that one. Oh, this one. Chunibyo anime. So people may not like me for this, but I'm gonna say it's a bad anime. I think it's the worst. Is it the worst KyoAni anime? I think it might be. I think it might be the worst KyoAni anime. I did not like it. I didn't enjoy it. I agreed with almost the entire antithesis of the show, like trying to say people need to grow up and mature and not cling on to this sort of thing. Yeah, it didn't really work for me. Maybe it was for a younger audience. I don't know. Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan is not good. I've tried to watch it. It's just not really engaging. What else can I say about it? Yeah, I just find it relies too much on, like, what I call the Game of Thrones writing idea, where it's like, you just kind of kill main characters unexpectedly, and that's, like, amazing storytelling. And it's like, once you see it enough, it kind of wears out, maybe. Oh, Lenolai. Lenolai. Damn, Kyun, you know every anime in the world. No, I don't. Look at how many you, like, haven't watched. What's this one? What's it called? My High School Romance Isn't As Expected or something. I'm gonna rate this as... Excuse me. This one is alright, and that's mostly because it has Saika in it, but I don't like the story, and I don't like most of the other characters, but I'm gonna give it a alright because it has a cute trap. The Devil is a Part-Timer. This one I'm gonna put as amazing. It has a couple of things holding it back from being a masterpiece, but it does get a lot of things really good with its slice-of-life commentary and trying to just sort of have a good... What I really like about it is it's like a reverse isekai, so it's people coming from a magical world into our world, and that's a concept I'd like to see more. Code Geass, Lelouch the Rebellion. This is a masterpiece because, like, how can it not be? Jibun wo, motherfuckers. Jibun wo Sagashimo. I don't know how that goes. I should stop before I get in too deep. Okay. Oh, you're saying that to Kyun. You know what? He knows every anime in the world. Sorry. I took that compliment from you. I'm sorry. What is this one? Basketball anime thing. Yeah, haven't seen it. This one, haven't seen it. Gurren Lagann, masterpiece. It is one of the best giant robo animes ever made. It's just great. Like, if you haven't seen Gurren Lagann, you should check it out. Madoka, Maho Madoka. Bad. Not only an anime I didn't like, but one that I genuinely found... I was almost upset seeing them waste resources on it. It's like, when you're like, man, they could have done so many other things with this, but... well. What's this next one? I don't think I know this one. Spice and Wolf. Spice and Wolf is amazing. It's really well paced. It's a very adult anime. The subject they cover is interesting. It does what all good manga and anime should really strive to do, which is take something you wouldn't normally be interested in and make it interesting, bring it to a forefront. A lot of the manga and anime I've enjoyed the most are ones that are like covering some niche topic, and the whole anime will be based around people obsessed over that concept, like snacks or trains or swords or I'm sure you know where I'm going. What is? Don't know what that one is. Haven't seen it. Don't know what this one is. Haven't seen it. Don't know that one. Haven't seen it. Oh, this is the Sword Art Online that's actually kind of good because it has Trap Kirito in it, and he's cute. What's this? What is this? No Game, No Life? No Game, No Life is amazing. Again, I think it's only limited by TV budget from being a masterpiece. Like, if it... All of these ones up here, like, they had really big budgets, so they were able to pull off some amazing animation. No Game, No Life had a little more limits to it, so they couldn't really, sparkle like that, but still really good. Really, really good. Seven Deadly Sins. I haven't watched it. I haven't watched this one. Haven't watched this Fate. Ooh, here we go. Elfen Lied. This is one of my least liked anime of all time. I really dislike Elfen Lied. Um, just something about it rubs me wrong in every way. I find it's a really cruel, sadistic anime. It's hard to sit through, and the takeaway from it isn't like anything really gratifying. It's like just kind of violence porn. It's like just really gratuitous. So, yeah, Elfen Lied was just not my jams. It was not my jams. Trap Kirito is salvageable. LOL, violence porn. Mimi Kitten. That's too much for me. Are you saying Elfen Lied, the monk, it was too much for you, Elfen Lied, or my review of it is too much? See, I like some violent animes. I like violent animes that are stylistic and like creative. I just don't like it when it's like painful and depressing and miserable, and like Japan has this weird, not weird, just a cultural obsession with suffering and misery, and I think it comes from like their Buddhist nature. So they really enjoy the idea of someone suffering and becoming better for it, or just enduring misery for the sake of enduring it. Like, yeah, they have a really nice sense of appreciating struggle, I would say. Yeah, me too. Like Berserk. Uh, Berserk is pretty good. Again, that's one I think I liked a lot more when I was younger, but now it's like, it's alright. Danmachi. I haven't watched that. Haven't watched this one. Haven't watched Durara. Run High School Host Club. Run High School Host Club is a masterpiece. It is one of the best shoujo anime ever made. I would like to refer you to Manly Dude Bro Reviews Uran High School Host Club if you need a good breakdown of why it's amazing. But yeah, Uran High School Host Club is one of the best harem animes ever made. It's it's kind of revolutionary, I think, as like an early, like, for me, it was an anime that exposed a lot of LGBT themes to me without, like, rubbing it in my face, but, like, almost everyone in that show cross-dresses at some point. They have an entire school devoted to girls that's, like, very heavily lesbian, Yuri-esque, and the guys play up this whole, like, kind of gay for each other, manly, fabulous nature, and like, yeah, there's a wide range of like genders and perspectives and stuff like that, and it's not the focus of it, but I always thought that was a really interesting thing they kind of did, that there's that takeaway from it for a lot of people who just might want some validation for who they are as a person. I think that's one of the things it does great, better than anything. It's one of the nicest anime I've ever seen to just validate people as people. Um, and yeah, it's a really good anime. It has very few faults to it, and the only people I can think that may not be too receptive to it are people that want like their very macho, very manly anime. But even then, like Uran satisfies, man. I'm telling you, if you're not one for these kind of anime, this is one that would win you over. And Haruhi is amazing. You know, everyone thinks of the Suzumiya, Haruhi Suzumiya, right? But you know, I think of this Haruhi too. There we go. Okay, oh, Food Wars, I think. I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen this one. Steins Gate, I haven't seen it, but I know it's got, like, Tutaru Girl, and it's another series with, like, a trap in it. Oh, One Piece. One Piece is amazing! I mean, part of it is that they have one of the biggest budgets around for an anime ever, so they can pull off some pretty amazing stuff. It does have a fair bit of filler that actually might have to downgrade it to good because it's a lot of episodes to sit through. A lot of them are filler, but One Piece is like, you know, really good. You know, kudos to 4Kids though. You know, they tried. They really tried. What do we got here? Another Fate series that I'm not really into. Gintama. Gintama I've watched a bit of. Gintama's just alright for me. It's not a bad anime, but again, it has that problem of having a lot of episodes, and a lot of them are just kind of a little bloated. Ooh, Hellsing. Hellsing, I'd say it's a masterpiece. It's some of the best animation ever done for a thing, and it just really excels in everything it tries to do. Oh, that one. Charlotte, don't know that one. What's this? Blue Exorcist, I think. I don't know that one. Haven't watched it. Monogatari, not good. Did not really enjoy it. Not my thing. I'm just gonna have to keep putting things under haven't watched until... Oh, I find something I can talk about. So Kill la Kill. Kill la Kill was good. I was really let down. I was expecting a lot more from it, but the animation in it is really good. It redeems a lot of the weaker parts of it, but overall, you know, kind of a weak story, and that really kills it in the end. Okay, Howl's Moving Castle. Howl's Moving Castle is amazing. Full Metal Alchemist. Full Metal Alchemist, is this Brotherhood, or is this... Do they have Brotherhood later on? So which one is this? Okay, I think this is the original one. So the original one I would put under good. And if this is Brotherhood, I'm going to put it under Masterpiece. Because the original story for Fullmetal Alchemist is a masterpiece, but the anime kind of mucked it up a little bit, so... You know, they tried their best. It was pretty good overall. Haruhi Suzumiya. Taking the whole anime into account, What was that one where they repeated like 7 episodes over and over and over again? That was real bullshit, but otherwise it was a pretty good anime. So it gets... I would have made it amazing, but because they do the endless 7 summer episodes, that was some bullshit, so it gets slotted down to good. Princess Mononoke, masterpiece. I mean, I don't think I need to explain it. I feel a little bad because it's like, what if you're someone that doesn't like it, and it's such an uphill battle to argue for that, right? Because Endless 8, sorry, Endless 8. Thank you very much for that, Kyonkun. Kyonkun. But yeah, imagine being someone that's like, you know what, I didn't like Princess Mononoke, and like, every anime fan will be on you like, what, you didn't like Princess Mononoke, but it's like one of the best things. Like, nah, it's alright. You know, I understand if people don't like it, but, you know, it's pretty hard not to like it, I think. Haven't seen this one. One Punch Man. Masterpiece? I'm gonna have to downgrade it to amazing, because the first season's really good, but the second season just dropped the ball. K-On! Is alright. Actually, no, I'm gonna have to say not good. Anything below alright is basically an anime I wouldn't enjoy watching, like, I would want to turn it off right away. And K-On's just one of those anime where it's like, I just can't watch it. It's just, something about it just doesn't click with me. There's a whole... It's like something in their brains is missing to make them think like normal people, and I understand that's like a moe thing, but there's just something about everything they do that just like, it mildly irritates me in a way I can't describe. Konosuba. Konosuba is a masterpiece. I really think it's going to go on to be remembered as one of the best anime of the last decade. And rightfully so, because the people that made it did a really good job. The story's amazing. Oh my god, the voice actors in Konosuba are just, like, next level. They bring their triple A game to it and are, you know, just astounding. So yeah, that one's got to stay there. What's this one? I don't know this one. Soul Eater. Soul Eater is amazing. High School of the Dead is not good. My Hero Academia is not good. RE0 is bad. I really don't like the story to it. I don't like the concept behind it. Aside from good character designs, it doesn't really have anything that saves it for me. I just find overall this story's kind of depressing. The whole angle they're going for is just like... Again, it feels like one of those anime that's like that kind of... that torture porn or that violence addiction all over again. Of just like, oh man, yeah, isn't this series great? I love to see people suffer. They're miserable, just like me. I can relate. Spirited Away, that is masterpiece. If there was a tier above masterpiece, I would slot it in there because it is just one-of-a-kind anime. It transcends even being anime. It's one of the best movies ever made. And, you know, time remains to be seen if it, you know, might continue to be one of the best movies ever made. Mob Psycho 100 is good. Log Horizon I haven't watched. Haven't watched this one. Made in the Abyss I haven't watched, but people keep telling me to watch it. What is this one? Your Name. I haven't watched Your Name, but that's another one I should watch sometime. Overlord is... It's alright. I kind of want to put it under not good, but I did watch it for long enough that it's like, it's entertaining, but by the time I got bored of it, like, now if I watch it, it would be a not good, so... Actually, yeah, I'll have to slot in under not good, because... Death Note. Death Note is... alright. One One of the big problems with Death Note that they tried to fix with the anime, and they did a pretty good job with it, is that the story doesn't really need to be made into an anime. It's such a like dialogue text heavy story, and it doesn't have these big action set pieces. So making an anime out of it was like really just milking what was already a popular series that they knew was gonna draw in money. So the anime itself isn't really that great, only because it's outdone so much by the manga and the expressions being just so much better in the manga. And they tried to translate that to the anime, but it's just one of those things where, like, a still shot of a twisted facial expression, it just does something that a motion moving face like can't really capture. It's that frozen torturedness kind of or something. So I just found the manga just did a lot better of a job with what it wanted to do, and the anime was sort of a accessory, just for people who don't find manga accessible. So Violet Evergarden, I haven't seen it. I don't know what this one is. I haven't seen it. Don't know what this one is. Haven't seen it. And this one, I know, what's it called? Clanad, but I haven't watched it. So yeah, there you go. This is my horrible taste. Oh, I lean back. So yeah, there you go. This is my horrible taste in anime. I'll have to save it and share it later. Post it to Twitter. People can make fun of me for it. Did I download it, or what's going on? Oh, there we go. Okay. Now, what other list can we do? Bravo, it's not horrible. Thank you. Thank you. Community rankings. Oh, interesting. Okay, let's do Pokemon Gen 1. We're gonna rate all the Gen 1 Pokemon. What you going to do with the tier list? Well, here's the thing with the tier list of Roman emperors. I looked up Rome, and there's, like, nothing here for Rome. Like, most of them are for games. So there's Gods of Rome characters, Pharaohs, Roman emperors, and English monarchs, Rome Total War, Rome's and Roman successors. So there's not even, like, a thing I can really do for Rome. I don't think... Are any of these even historical? There's Rome's and Roman successors, but that one's, like... I'll be done this in a couple of minutes here. So, what we got? America's Rome's successor, F tier. If anything, they resemble the fall of Rome. Britain as Rome's successor, F tier. The Romans were infamously terrible at naval warfare, and the British were infamously amazing at naval warfare. Holy Roman Empire as the inheritor to Rome. F tier. The Holy Roman Empire was not holy, it was not Roman, and it wasn't an empire. What's this? Crisis of the 3rd century. So that would be the Rome, 3rd century. So is that when it was divided? Okay, yeah, that's basically the division of the Roman Empire. So that's when it was like half and half, I think. So half and half Roman Empire was A tier. They did a pretty good job holding it together altogether. Byzantine Empire, Justinian. I give him D tier, because he was actually a very bad ruler. He was not very effective. He kind of relied on the success of other people to do a lot of stuff for him. And he also really encouraged a lot more division between the East and West, which led to not good times overall for a lot of people. Early Roman Empire. A tier. Early Roman Empire was pretty good. It was pretty stable. Yeah, like if you had to live in the Roman Empire, the early Roman Empire is probably a good time to live in. Early Roman Republic. Actually, no. The early Roman Republic was really good for its time. It did a lot of things really right, and I think they tried as best they could. I can just downgrade that one, because I feel like it'll work better. Late Holy Roman Empire. They're a little bit more of a C. Actually, the late Holy Roman Empire did start to resemble the Holy Roman, or like the Roman Empire a little bit. Let's see, the late Byzantine Empire, I would say B. They did pretty good holding out, but, they had a lot of problems too. Late Roman Empire is S tier. Once they kind of had things figured out, the Roman Empire was probably the most powerful version of it. Late Roman Republic, I'm going to rate at D tier, because it actually was not a very good time. There were a number of problems, and part of the reason why we had so many crises and issues, with the Roman Republic turning into an empire, was because of a lot of things that were started by the late Roman Republic. Caesar was really only one of many different guys who, at the time, threatened to take the reins of Rome, and they kind of managed to oligarch themselves into power. So, there were multiple flaws in that system that led to that, and instead of fixing it and realizing the betterment of the whole, small men who obsessed in the here and now and, grand visions of immortality and living forever in the annals of history, doomed the Republic into this empire of nonsense. Whatever the fuck Mussolini was doing. F tier. Absolutely nothing like the Roman Empire. Fuck Mussolini. Ottoman claim to Rome. S tier. This might upset a lot of people, but you know what? If you really look at it, and if you see where they kind of went until they got a little more heavy-handed into being a little more fundamentalist Islamic, the Ottoman Empire for many years really did exemplify the type of Roman pragmatism, tolerance, technological development, task collection, administration of provinces. They really kind of just kept a system in place that worked really well. And it was changing that system that kind of doomed them in the end, because again, fewer guys wanted more power to be shared amongst less people. And the result of that was fragmenting. So, yeah, good job to the Ottoman claim to Rome. They actually did title themselves as Rome, but in Turkish, so it was spelled like R-U-M. Roman Kingdom. Probably a D tier. What's this one? Russian claim to Rome. I would say A tier, actually. Russia has a pretty reasonable claim to being the successor to Rome for a number of reasons. One of the major ones being that they're basically where the seat of the Orthodox Patriarchy moved to after the fall of Constantinople. And to this day, it continues to be kind of the epicenter of the Orthodox faith throughout the world. Sort of split up between them and the Greek Orthodox Church. Like, they're the two big ones that kind of push and pull back and forth. But yeah, on top of that, I mean, the Russians stylized themselves as Kaisers, which is derivative from Kaiser, as it was pronounced in English, Latin, Caesar. Which, if you played Fallout New Vegas, you know they say like "Always hail the Kaiser," and like the Germans kind of kept that pronunciation. They still say like Kaiser. And the Russian rendition of that is Tsar. Kasar is basically how it ends up being in Russian, because they don't have what is it? I guess just to make that sound, just the TS is how they spelt it out. So, yeah, that's my rating of the couple of different Romes they had on offer here. They have like a random thing. Eh, I'm dried up on these. I want to just watch YouTube videos. Just watch YouTube. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got on the YouTube? Merchandising. Oh, why do I feel brain dead already? I didn't even make it like an hour into the stream, and I'm already like, bleh, my brain doesn't want to work. Like, just staring at the screen, like, come on, Kyonko, do something, be interesting. I guess I could play a game, but I have this set up so it says chill and chat, so that's weird. Oh, you're right. I should put in more music. Bananas. I don't know how people like have long chat sessions. I don't know what to say. Yeah, there was corruption awry. Yes, there was in Rome and stuff. I don't know. What do you guys want to do? You guys want to play Scribblerio? Never mind. That anime chart broke Kyonko. Quick take Kyonko 2 out of the closet. Kyonko 2. Zoop. There, Kyonko 2. Bum 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 bum. Wow, I really didn't think about like much else to do. Oh, this guy's kind of neat. Oh, right, I forgot. I just have my watch later stuff we can watch. Okay, I should probably turn up volume.
Secret government special weapons development program finds its test pilot and a daredevil police officer injured in the crossfire.
How's the volume? Am I too... Is it loud enough you can hear it, but if I talk, it's not, like...
In a world of corruption
like you can hear me?
on both sides of the law, who will ride the center line dispensing justice?
Let me know if you want me to turn the YouTube video up or volume video up or down. Make this a little bigger for you guys. Or no, because then it's overriding the chat and it looks weird. What size was it? Was it right here? When you talk, I can hear you over the video. Okay.
Series that originally ran on ABC in the United States from January to May of 1985.
Kyonkochan, I'm back, bro. Are you bored?
42 countries around the world. Jesse Mock loves two things: action
it's like
being a cop.
I've talked so much that I don't know what to say now, and I'm trying to like still be eloquent and interesting.
During one particular race against each other through the desert, they stumble upon a drug smuggling operation that lands Jesse in the hospital with extensive injuries and his partner murdered.
We need
but
to
it's not all bad news. Jesse's motorcycle stunt show that got him suspended in the first place was witnessed by Norman.
Damn it, Jesse! You had one job.
Engineer for the Street Hawk program. Despite his reservations about Jesse's mental and physical fitness, he signs into the program with a promise of rehabilitation, action, and federally backed vigilante justice. By day, Jesse will still be Jesse Mock, mild-mannered police officer, reassigned to the public relations division, using a cane, walking with a limp. But by night,
overload. Or I don't know. I'm trying to get better at having longer streams, and then it's like when I do a really long stream, I start to feel burnt out by the end, and then I don't want to stream again because I don't want to feel that burnout feeling again. It's a vicious cycle. Like a bicycle that eats you.
And now it's time for a game of Is It Knight
It's okay,
Rider?
bro.
Round one,
but is it really? Is it really? We're VTubers. We have to be perfect. We have to be better than human. Stronger, faster.
No, Michael Knight and Jesse Mock were both
just have some fun. Yeah, pretty much. Just have fun.
But Knight Rider gets a whole new face and identity. Street Hawk gets
no one's perfect. Excuse me. Right here. I am like
Street Hawk are basically just the same thing.
Pretty perfect.
Except one's a car and the other's
don't mean
a
to brag,
motorcycle.
but
you know, no, it's.
I've had a lot of people tell me my tail is some of the floofiest floof they've ever
Michael
flew.
and Kit are like teammates, partners who can function independently.
I'm sorry I had to get lewd with this stream, but you know, sometimes you gotta just flex your floof.
By itself, Street Hawk the bike can't do anything without Street Hawk the pilot.
My bad, floofy summer.
Both pursuing justice wherever that
path takes them. That's floofy Onei-chan to you.
And sometimes against law enforcement. They're both vigilantes. Is it Knight Rider? No. See, Knight Rider is a public law enforcement operation backed by a mysterious billionaire. There's only one Kit and one Michael Knight. Street Hawk is a federally funded weapons development program.
I feel like if I do like a girly voice, it just sounds really fake.
Police department around the country, they could not be
like if I just talk like this the whole time.
Actually,
I do kind of talk like that most of the time.
Is It Street Hawk was created by Paul M. Bellows, Robert Walterstorff, and Bruce Lansbury as a lime kiln and
You could
Templar
be a good
production in
trap.
association
What do you
with
mean I
Universal
could
Television.
be?
While it feels like
Ouch,
it could have
man.
been a Glenn A.
Ouch.
Larson production,
You know how to cut
it
deep.
was not. Bruce Lansbury, in particular, had a deep television background, having worked on the 1960s.
Well, you heard it here,
Wild Wild
people.
West and Mission Impossible
Kyonkochan
after
is
that.
I'm not a
Underwater and
trap.
the Fantastic
All of
Journey,
this,
even
I'm
contributions
just
to the Brady Bunch, Happy
I've
Days,
been a
The Odd
dude
Couple,
all
and
along.
not for nothing, in the 90s, he would end up producing Murder, She Wrote, starring his
No, I'm
sister,
just
Angela
teasing.
Lansbury.
I'm
Originally
just
intended to be called
teasing.
Falconer,
It's good.
the production team
It's
had to
good.
stay
You
flexible.
reacted.
Turns out there was already a pilot in the works with that title. But what's in a name? That which we call a
You better
hawk
not say
by
I'm
the name
100% cutie.
would ride just as street. But then Street Hawk was too close
No,
to Nighthawk,
don't
and that
do
landed
it.
them a $250 million lawsuit from Honda. Honda wanted to protect the brand value of
Don't
their
do it,
Nighthawk
man. I'm telling you,
motorcycle
it's
and
not
only
worth
agreed
it.
to drop the lawsuit
This
after the
Kyonko
show was
guy,
canceled.
girl
Street was originally intended to
thing,
premiere on primetime
it,
Monday nights at 8 p.m. at the end
floof.
of 1984 as opposed to the beginning of 1985. But ABC accidentally found themselves with a surprise performer in the drama Call to Glory starring Craig T. Nelson about a U.S. Air Force pilot and his family.
But yeah, like,
Street Hawk became a mid-season
I kind of worked on a
Friday
female
nights
voice
at
a
9
couple of
p.m.
times,
instead.
and
Street Hawk, the motorcycle
it's not that
itself
hard. You
in
just have to
show,
learn
is an
how
all-terrain attack
to
motorcycle
flex your
designed to
voice
fight urban
slightly.
crime, capable of
But
incredible
I feel like it
speeds,
sounds
up
really
to
obvious,
300
and
miles
like
an hour, and immense
I don't know.
firepower.
It just sounds weird.
In show,
I feel
it cost $3 million. In reality, as with any stunt-driven show, lots of individual motorcycles were built for the purpose that
and
they
like
would be used in the show. Bikes with better
yeah,
suspensions
I
for
just
jumps, bikes that were more
I'm
about the
happy
details and
to
lights for
be me,
appearances during the
so I
close-up
don't
camera
worry about
work.
doing a voice.
Multiple
I
bikes
just
needed to
be
be
me.
on hand so the production could continue while other bikes were being repaired. The crew kept 6 different bikes on hand at all times.
Y'all got any beer in the fridge? Nani? Oh, sugoi desu! So like the Kamen Rider stunt set.
Jesse Mock was played by Rex
We can practice
Smith.
over
Rex began his
Discord,
acting
practice
career
our
on
girly
Broadway
boy
in the cast
voices
of
with
Grease
each
in
other.
1978.
Heck yeah, bro.
He was a teen
I mean,
heartthrob,
sis.
featured regularly in magazines like Tiger Beat and 16 Magazine. His career was on a musical path.
Oh hey,
a
yay,
top
we
10
made
song
it
in
past an
1979
hour.
called
Good
You
for
Take My
me.
Breath Away.
Or I guess a
Norman
little
Tuttle,
longer, because there
Street
was
Hawk's
that little
designer,
bit
engineer,
earlier that
Jesse's co-pilot,
I was doing some
navigator, and all-around
troubleshooting, and then
Alfred back at the
my
control center was played by
my
Joe
slobs
Del
messed
Muto.
up,
You might
so
recognize him from his later role
yeah.
as Frank Fontana on the television show Murphy Brown.
Maybe tomorrow night we'll do
Lieutenant
some
Commander Alto
karaoke. You
Belli
guys
was
want
played by
to
Richard
do
Belcher, and
karaoke
Rachel
or like
Adams
watch
was played
me?
by Jeannie Wilson. Rex wasn't the first choice for Jesse Mock. Don Johnson was originally considered, but he landed Miami Vice. George Clooney screen tested, and creator Robert Walterstorff liked him, but ABC said no. However, Clooney does appear
So I
in the
think there
second
is a
episode.
way I can do a
12 years later,
karaoke
Clooney
duet
would
with
get another
you.
chance
It
as a
just
superhero without any
the way it
superpowers,
works is like you have
which
to
was
record
still 8
it,
years
upload
after
it to
Rex was the first
Twitch,
person to portray Marvel's Daredevil in
sings,
the TV movie The
and
Trial
then
of Hulk.
I
Superheroes
just gotta
love
find your
two things: action
profile,
and selling toys.
and I
While there
should
were
be able
plans
to
by Kenner to
sing
release
along
Street
with
Hawk-related
you.
toys in the U.S., almost none of them were produced.
So that could be fun. We
Street
can
Hawk
try
Command
that
Center
tomorrow,
with
maybe.
motorcycle launching action was in development. It would
Same
have been
bat
compatible
time,
with 3 different
same
bikes:
bat
Street Hawk,
place.
Stunt Bike, and Police Cycle, each with a removable figure with construction similar to Star Wars.
I mean, if I know at least a
Street
couple
Hawk
of people might be
friction-powered cycle was
interested,
produced
then
by Kenner and most likely distributed by Palitoy in the
yeah,
UK,
we can
where
do
the pieces more commonly found.
karaoke tomorrow.
LJN produced a Street Hawk motorcycle with lights and motorized action as part of their Rough Riders line. In Brazil, Street Hawk was retitled Moto Laser.
Moto Laser
released a motorcycle and a Chevy truck similar to the one that ran over Jesse Mock in the pilot episode.
Not cool, Zeus. Not cool.
There was a racing track with Street Hawk and a stunt bike and a Jesse Matt individually carded action figure whose blister card back features all the members of the A-Team and Michael Knight. Erdl produced and may or may not have released in some quantity a voice-activated role-play helmet set. MPC released
role-play helmet. Ooh.
1969 Ford Mustang. Empire
Sounds
Model Kits in
lewd.
Japan released a Street Hawk kit.
Role-play
Rainbow Toys produced 2
helmet.
different
Oh
versions
my.
of their Street Hawk motorcycle, one with and one without helmet-shaped launcher. But the true gem of Street Hawk toys was the one with ties to G.I. Joe, released in India and the UK by Fun School. Fun School was a manufacturer founded in India in 1987.
This is my
They
war
produce licensed
helmet.
merchandise
This is
from
my
companies
role
like
play
Hasbro
helmet.
and Disney.
One
When
is
it
for
comes to
fun,
G.I. Joe, they are known
one
for
is for
quirky
business.
repaints, part swapping, and repackaging. Access to the G.I. Joe molds allowed them to produce a G.I. Joe Ram motorcycle in black with metallic silver decals and call it Street Hawk. The blister card is even branded as G.I. Joe, likely to tie it into the debut of the line and its popularity in India at the time. For the initial release, Fun School repainted an original Snake Eyes figure with silver accents as a stand-in for Jesse Mock. Successive releases in India and limited other international markets would see Snake Eyes
I
replace
bet
the
Lube
red
makes the
Target
helmet
figure,
hard to
again with
wear.
silver accents, a
LOL.
much more
I hope you're
accurate
proud of that
representation of the
comment.
helmet and costume on the show. A third version had the Target head on a spearhead body, again with silver accents, a glorious attempt that not only does its best to provide fans of the show with an official version of the thing that they watched on TV at almost no additional cost to Fun School, but also an exciting new variant for G.I. Joe collectors around the world. Lunchboxes, binoculars, puzzles, activity books. There was quite a bit of merchandise released, including a video game by Ocean Software for the ZX Spectrum. The pilot episode was adapted into a novel by Target Books in Britain, as were 3
Video
pairs
games are
of
for
episodes for a
nerds.
total of 4 books. And if you don't want to read with your eyes, there were Street Hawk books on tape. Speaking of tapes, the pilot episode was released on VHS in Canada and the US by MCA. Strangely enough, the 2 edits are different, both in terms of runtime and visual effects. The Canadian version has red lasers, where the US version has blue lasers.
What?
In 2010, Shout Factory, for the 25th
Really?
anniversary, released the complete series
Holy
on
cow.
DVD. The set included a new documentary called The Making of a Legend and an unaired pilot with different Street Hawk weapon effects. And you can purchase the entire series in standard definition via Amazon.com. Street Hawk didn't have the same impact that its contemporaries did. Forever compared to Knight Rider, it gets lost in the haze of other primetime superheroes, detectives, private investigators, vigilantes, and soldiers of fortune. It did have a longer life outside the US. And thanks to this infernal internet that simultaneously brings fandoms together while it rips the rest of the world
How does the
apart,
chat
the
look
fan
like
base has
that?
grown
Is it
since
still
left
like
the broadcast
not too
airwaves,
hard to
to the
read?
point where in 2010, Rex Smith himself was actively lobbying to bring the series back in a legacy capacity.
I'm gonna leave it
similar to
like
Knight
that
Rider's
if that's
return to
alright.
television in 2008.
I'm
Street
just
Hawk got
saying, a
decent
helmet
ratings,
has
but
many
ultimately 'twas
uses.
scheduling that killed the Hawk. Opposite
Well,
Dallas on Friday nights was a tough
I can think
ask
of
for
one
television
reason and
viewers,
one reason only you
especially the
might need a helmet
demographics
in
they
the
would have needed
bedroom,
to pull
and
to keep the advertising money
you
coming
know,
in.
knock on wood.
Street Hawk as a technical stunt and effects-driven show was also very expensive. The kind of show that a studio won't give a second season unless they really, really believe in it. Given the choice between Knight
You
Rider
know
and
what? I
Street
know
Hawk,
why it is I have
viewers
such a
chose
hard
to
time
stick
as a
with the talking
streamer. It's
car
because
they
I don't
knew
have
over the
a
motorcycle
gaming
they
chair.
just met.
If I
Thanks
had
for
a
watching.
gaming
Please hit like,
chair,
hit subscribe
then
if you're
I could
not
pull
already
in
a
the big
subscriber.
viewers.
Thank you very much to those of you who already are. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy or become a YouTube channel member. Both
There you
Patreon
go.
and
I'm doing
YouTube
some
channel
service
members
for
have
him.
the
If
same
anybody likes him, go
responsibilities,
to
so
his
choose your own
Patreon.
adventure. Pause a beat. Wait for the teleprompter to catch up.
Death. For who am I kidding? What doesn't these days? Star Trek Nemesis is the final nail in the proverbial space coffin. No, wait. It is a space coffin.
It is a
And
space
I'm not just speaking
coffin.
metaphorically here, because this whole movie reminds me of death. For who am I
Death.
kidding? What doesn't these days? At what point did the Star Trek franchise go horribly wrong? Now, I'm not saying no one in particular is to blame.
1999, I'm
But
thinking.
what happened? When did Star Trek go from being a fun space adventure the whole family could enjoy to violent, dark, depressing horror movies?
Kill everything on that ship.
Now, I ain't saying all Star Trek didn't have its dark elements prior to this, but it was always done with a little bit of class, and it never really
Death
affected
Schmeth,
the
at
whole
least we have
overall
data.
movie. I don't think
Hey,
I've ever
remember,
seen a movie like
no
this.
one's ever
Mind
really
rape,
gone.
child slave labor,
No one's
guy
ever
getting
really
impaled on a
gone.
spike and then pulling it through his own guts, horrific scenes of death, close-ups of Marina Sirtis, disturbing diseases, people
How can I
getting
set
sucked
this
out
up
into
so it doesn't
space.
show
After the movie, I
my
felt
mouse
like going out
cursor?
coffin shopping. Do you remember All Good
I'll
Things?
figure it out later.
The final TNG episode? What a fun, adventurous way to end such a great
Death is
TV
just
show.
passing. Oh,
Sad
hi,
characters at
yes.
different
Oh, hey,
time
everybody, how you
periods.
doing? I'm
Go
Death,
back
you
to
know.
the
It's just
beginnings.
rolling
See
by,
what
just in the
happened to
neighborhood. Thought
everybody.
I'd
It was
stop
just
in.
great.
Maybe take
My
care of those
nemesis
in-laws.
here
Know what I
was
mean?
wanting
Know
to
what I
make me
mean?
stop taking my heart medicine. So let's get started talking about this movie. Number 1. Star Trek X, The Wrath of Shinzon. So you have to be a total asshole not to see the obvious parallels between Nemesis and The Wrath of Khan.
Hey, I'm an
And I'm not
asshole.
mentioning this to say like they ripped off that plot or anything, but what they did do was rip off that plot. All it really did was shine a giant spotlight on how Nemesis failed to reach that level of quality. I got a feeling that a conversation like this took place.
Hey, we should make another Star Trek The Next Generation film before they
Whoopsie.
get too old, one of them dies, or people stop caring.
Right, right. What should we do next?
Well, we slapped together the first one, which
Haha,
sucked.
in-laws,
That's
you
not too
crack
bad
me
again.
up,
People like the Borg
Kyonkochan.
one, right? That was dark and violent.
This is
But then
what
we
the
slapped
humans
together the
refer
next one,
to
and no one
as
liked
the
that.
So we should make another
comedies.
dark and violent one.
That's right.
Yeah, we can get the best guys to work on it.
Oh yeah,
Get
the Next
people no one
Generation
ever
is
heard of.
really
Hey,
good.
maybe we could rip off, pay homage to The Wrath of Khan. Because that was a popular one.
I think it's like the
We'll
first,
make it
what is
about
it, like the
Picard and
first three
Data.
series, 3 or 4
Again, let's
series.
not take any risk.
Pretty much most people
Hey,
agree is
remember
really
when they
good, and then
took a risk on
afterwards
a weird
it's hit
plot
and
about
miss until you
humpback
get to the
whales
newer
and
stuff,
traveling
and it's
back
just
in
been
time? Wow,
consistently
that was a disaster.
Hollywood flanderization of like everything Star Wars is about. It's like, or Star Trek, I mean. It's like, what's Star Trek really about? I got it. Big space battles and lasers and okay, who let Michael Bay in? Get him the fuck out of here! No, let me direct a Star Trek. Let me direct a Star Trek. You let J.J. Abrams, you bastards.
So we have two homosexual villains who both spent a long period of time in an undesirable place. Eventually, they both get their own ship, a loyal crew,
The new stuff
and the
isn't just
ability to escape and
disappointing,
continue
it's
on with their
insulting.
lives. However,
Like,
they both
Gene
get into their own
Roddenberry,
crazy
you know, he
revenge
tried to create an idea, a legacy, and
and mess around with the
you
captains
know,
of the
to
Enterprise,
spit
fuck
in that and
themselves
say
over in
like,
the most
oh
illegal
no, you
way.
know, that's
Eventually,
everything
everyone
Star
ends up
Trek
in
was
space
about was
battling
wrong.
together.
This
But
is the dark
communication is
new
disrupted,
galaxy to
as
reflect
is their
the
ability to
modern
accurately
world.
shoot
And it's
at
like,
each other.
that's the entire point of Star Trek, is it's
Then the
not
second
supposed to
most
be like
important
our
character
world.
in
It's
Star
supposed
Trek
to be
sacrifices
this
himself so that a doomsday
like
device doesn't kill the crew of the Enterprise.
idealistic future. It's supposed to be unrealistic because it's supposed to be this like hopeful aspiration
There's
that,
even a scene
my
where both
God, like,
captains talk to the
look at how
bad guy as a
amazing
distraction while they
humanity
secretly
is
prepare an
if we
alternate
conduct
cap.
ourselves free of petty squabbling and
I hope you're still alive.
like Star Trek focuses so much on trying to destroy the idea of racism, like especially racism, but you know, in general, judging people.
About my first academy evaluation.
Lock phasers on target and await my command. Phasers locked.
But yeah, Gene Roddenberry was a pretty wonderful human being, and you know, he gave he did a lot in his life to make this world better.
The thing was, overall, Wrath of Khan was a smarter movie.
And he got to be
It was
blasted
about
into
Kirk
space
dealing with
when he
changes in
died,
life,
like for his
realizing
funeral.
he
That's
was
pretty
getting
boss.
older. It was also about Kirk never having had to face the no-win scenario. For Kirk, everything usually worked out in the end.
You know, it's funny in a
But
way
not
because
this
it's like
time.
the cast
This
was
time Spock
diverse,
died.
but they
It's like
weren't
Kirk grew
diverse
as a
because, in a
character.
sense, like
Nemesis lacked all
that's
these elements,
what
except for
people have
people
been like
dying.
for
All
years.
that
Like Star
happens
Trek
really
was
is
just
Picard
reflecting
just
how
discovers that if he
the
grew
real
up in
world
a
already
space mine,
was.
he'd
Like
just turn into a
Sulu
violent
being
psychopath that
Japanese
pulls a
and
sniper
Nohara
of
being
his own.
black, and
Gee, how uplifting.
then
Picard
adding
then
in
just
like an
storms off
alien
the bridge
element.
at the end, and
Like
everyone's
Spock's whole
left
purpose
standing
was to be
around with
like,
this
wait, but
look
you
on
look
their
white
faces
like
like,
us, but
this
you're an
Star Trek
alien? How
shit's
does
getting
that
too
work? Aren't you the
violent for
same as
me.
us?
Nemesis just basically
At least I
leaves you
think
with
that
this
was his
sick,
goal.
tired, depressed feeling at the end. But couldn't they have ended
Spock
it the
was
way
like a
the show
relatable
ended? A nice
Caucasian
game of
alien
pinochle?
that
Something like where you don't feel like slitting your wife's wrist?
established that idea
Oh,
of
and
like how
unrelated
people
news,
could be so
Bambi
similar to
killed
us but
herself
have
in the
completely different
bathtub after I
customs.
found out she was taking money out of my wallet. I guess she felt guilty about it. Number 2, Wedding Bells. Nemesis opens at Riker and Troy's funeral. I mean wedding. Wedding. By the way, which is mysteriously lacking Luoxana Troy, whose only mission in life was to see her daughter get married. Now, Majel might have been sickly at that point from her leukemia, so I'll give that a
The other
pass,
thing
but
that's
I
great
really
about
think the
like Star
writers
Trek: The
just
Next
forgot.
Generation is it's such a time capsule of like, what was it? When did it premiere? The late
But anyways,
80s?
a lot of people like to complain about two characters who are in this
The Next
scene,
Generation, I
Worf and
think.
Wesley.
Are you alright?
Romulan ale should be illegal.
It is.
Yeah, so it's like a time capsule of like the late 80s and the early
Trade embargo
90s.
has been officially lifted, if you were wondering.
Now, last
And
time
someone
we saw
pointed
Lord
out like
Wesley, he
there
had
was a
quit
weird, like
Starfleet and
really
gone around
quick
the universe
transition
with
from
some
like
weird guy.
Commander, how would you feel about being
88
named
to
Federation
92.
Ambassador
Like within
Promising?
4 years, just
Now,
the
Morse
style
had
of
been on
everything
Deep
seemed to
Space Nine,
change.
and then at the end he got made a Klingon ambassador. Now they are suddenly back in uniform and at the wedding. This doesn't really annoy me. It's entirely possible that Wesley got bored with the Traveler and came to his senses. Maybe went back to Starfleet. Same with Worf. Maybe Worf was an ambassador for a year and then got bored. You see, each movie the reason for Worf being there gets less and less important. First he's on the Defiant and is beamed over in battle.
Vintage, for lack
Then
of a better word.
was at a conference or something? Now he's just there and don't ask why. If they don't care, I'm not gonna care.
But you know, I've
In fact, it
noticed
seems
like
like
one of
nobody
the
cares
hallmarks
about
of
the
really good
accuracy of
TV
these
shows
characters
is
no more.
like
Michael Dorn put on
not
50
having
pounds
big
since he
budgets,
last
so they
saw
have
him.
to make like
Picard is happy
talking
and
and
smiling
acting
and completely out of
interesting
character.
instead of
Marina
it
Sirtis
being a
apparently
special
totally
effects
forgot how to play
showcase.
Counselor Troy. Troy now sounds almost exactly like Marina Sirtis sounds in interviews.
Whether you're a real bride or a make-believe bride, you're the princess for the day. It's tradition, Worf. You of all people should appreciate that.
I'm not certain of that now, Captain. I do sense something unusual.
I'm proud of the work that we all did.
I'm not certain of that now, Captain.
Well, you're in quite a mood today.
My father was a Starfleet officer.
Enough about this crap. Back to the wedding scene. Now I'll tell you what really bothers me. It's them green plastic drum symbols. Why do they have to have space symbols? Is it to remind us that we're in the future? Look, the symbol goes back
Get your
to
hippie
prehistoric
space
times, and you're asking me
instruments
to
out
believe
of
that all the
here,
way from
you
then up until the last couple of
dang
years they started
space
making drum
wood
symbols in
stocks.
transparent green plastic? And if any is supposed to comment saying it's supposed to be some kind of semi-transparent green metal alloy that reverberates sound much better than traditional symbols, well then you ain't getting sent a pizza roll, you got it? Because we've consistently
No
seen
pizza
Star Trek characters
rolls.
playing traditional wood, wind, and stringed instruments all throughout Star Trek. Riker even played a fucking trumpet. None of these instruments have been turned into a transparent green
It's like,
plastic.
yeah,
Listen,
Star
enough
Trek
about
wouldn't
the
like
symbols.
just
My
reinvent perfectly
grandkids
good
need
things.
their
It's like
medicine. If you
they
want to
don't
help, please mail
stop
cash
wearing
only
t-shirts
to
because
Trump Taj Mahal
they
Casino
develop some
Hotel.
different kind of
Care
way of
of
wearing a
Barry S.
clothing
Plinkett.
thing.
Slingo Mystery Bonus Slot Machine near the men's bathroom. Atlantic City, New Jersey. 08401. Number 3. I don't know what's happening.
I always
in the
thought that was
movie.
so weird
Again,
to make the Taj
C-grade
Mahal
hack
into a
writers and
casino, because
producers were put
isn't
in
the
charge
Taj
of
Mahal
this
like a
Star Trek
religious
movie.
building? Like, what if you made like,
To write a story
what if
that
you made
looks
like
it's a
something, but it was a
complex
different
mystery
group of
plot.
people? So you
When
had
you
like
break it down, nothing
the
makes sense. I guess
the
we're supposed to
Vatican
forget about the
Casino
details of what just happened in
or
the movie
the
by
Golden
the time we
Temple
get to the
Casino,
drool-inducing action scenes.
the
Don't
Notre
ask
Dame
questions.
Casino.
Just keep shoving popcorn in your
How well
face
would
and
that
shipping
fly?
out money. I'm gonna ask questions, goddammit. So the real
This
story
guy is the
begins
most
when
boring
Worf's
voice
getting
in the
deets
world.
and his scan deposit
That's sort of
on
the
his
point.
signature
He's
in the
like
Polaris.
basically a deranged basement-dwelling hobo,
Electromagnetic signature from the Kalaran system.
and
Which
his
is, of
voice
course,
is supposed to
B4
be
lunar
like
planets
just
been
completely
placed there by
devoid of like
Shinzon as a way to bait
feeling,
Picard.
because he's just so worn out at watching these movies.
First of all, it's never explained how Shinzon found a rare Noonien Sung android. Was it on Romulus? Did he find it in space? Was it just a coincidence that he found it and it was the same as Data, who just happens to be Picard's second officer? That's awfully convenient. Also, how did he get it to emit the positronic signature specifically at the Enterprise? Because if the Enterprise's computers detected it, you'd think other starships in the area would have too. There would be probably like 20 ships all arriving at Kalaras 4. They'd all be like, "Are you guys here to check out the positronic reading too?
Oh, well, let me put it
How
in like
weird.
Imagine if China opened a
forget
casino
about
that
us
was shaped like the Statue of Liberty.
Hey everyone, let's meet down on the planet. Bring your doom buggies and beer. Number 4. B4.
Brent Spiner,
You sank
Spiner or
my
Spinner?
starship.
I forget.
So everything Shinzon
His
does
voice
to
was
set up his
cool. When
master
Data got
plan makes no
emotions
sense.
with that clip,
He
it was so
wanted
funny to
Picard
see
take
him
B4
realize he
home
had
with
them.
him.
Haha, I
also
bet that
wanted
exists,
Picard
lol.
I guess for the blood transfusion, although I never did seem interested in doing it.
It is time for the procedure. We must begin the procedure now.
So why did his initial plan put both of those things in jeopardy? First of all, why is B4 scattered about in pieces? The only reason I can think of is to have Picard and his friends find each piece one at a time, in order to make it look like this is
But yeah, I
some
think
kind
part of the problem with
complex
Star
mystery
Trek is
plot
that it
when
just
it
inherently
isn't.
doesn't
I guess maybe
translate well
Shinzon
to
found them in
movies.
pieces and didn't know how to
It's
assemble
like,
them. But why scatter them
it's
all over
inherently
the place
designed to
then? Why
like
not just leave
be
them
really
in a
good as a
pile?
serial.
Let's think about this for a
Like
moment.
something you can pick
What
up and
happened
use
last
characters
time
and
you
put them
found the
back,
android in
and
pieces and assembled it?
Are you prepared
like
for
a
the path of
movie.
death you've earned, little man?
Movies don't
Oh,
work
not
really well,
right.
in my opinion, if you're trying to tell a
Or
multi-part
I'll turn your little
story,
man into a torch.
because
The only person turning my little
like,
man into a
if you're
torch
sitting down
is
to
my
watch a movie, it should be a
urologist.
package. It shouldn't be
So
something where you
Shinzon
have to
apparently
invest
wanted them
in
to assemble
like
B4
having
so
to
that B4 could
marathon
gather
things.
tactical information on Starfleet and lure Picard.
It's
So how
funny,
did
like
Shinzon
the
know
Lord
he
of the
couldn't
Rings
just
movies
dump
are
the
almost
android
kind of
parts
meant to
into a
be
storage
watched all
bin
at
and deal
once as
with it
like
later?
a
Or send them to a
10-hour-long
starbase for
movie,
them to assemble and
but
research?
for
You think a guy who could build
obviously
a massive
commercial
ship with a
reasons
perfect
and
cloak
the
could
fact that
assemble a
no one in
plastic
their right
android?
mind would
That fat
invest
guy with the
in
beard did it, so why
a
couldn't he?
9-hour
That would have
movie
been a
with
little
massive
smarter to
Hollywood
ensure that
release.
B4 did what he was supposed
You
to
know, they
do.
couldn't do it,
So we've
but
established that Shinzon
like
wanted Picard to
the
find the
movies work
android.
like
So
that,
why did he
so
make
they
it so
flow
hard
really
and
nicely.
dangerous
But
to find?
ever
Could
since
have
someone
placed it
did
on a
that,
planet
now
with
everybody
dangerous
thinks like,
ions
oh
for
man,
them
we
to
can do that
solve,
with like
rather than from
Avengers
using the
and all these other
transport.
things. And
I
like,
wouldn't recommend using the
hot
transport.
take,
That ion storm doesn't look
I
like
don't think
it.
those Avengers movies really
Okay.
worked at all.
It was also
I
put
was
on a
not
planet
like
right near a
thrilled
bunch
or
of aliens
excited,
with
and I
machine
was
guns
like,
that shoot at everything. But were those
they were just
Remans
really
disguised as
big, dumb
primitive aliens with machine
CGI
guns
fights
and
to me, and
tanks?
it's like the
To make
entire
it
time I'm
look like
watching it, I'm like,
primitive aliens
I
and
could be
machine
playing a
guns and
video game
tanks
if I
would
just
shoot
wanted like
down?
computer graphics.
If so, why?
Then I could blow up what I
Really hard to
wanted instead
tell,
of
'cause them
watching
aliens kind of
people
look like
do
Remans, but I'm not
things that I'd
sure.
have more fun doing.
I don't think they were. If they weren't Remans, then why did they put B4 on that planet right by them aliens with machine guns? That could have killed Picard. Either thing makes no
It's just,
sense.
it's weird to me
I
how
think the
people
rough
treat
scene
them
was
like
there
they're
so they could
these
just have an action chase
phenomenal.
in a Jeep.
I mean, I kind of get it. Like,
Really,
if you grew up
that's
with the
it.
movies, they're really
Let a fucking
interesting, but
kindergartner write this
they
book
don't
number 5.
have
Picard,
like
the
staying
Argo,
power. They
and a
don't
big fuck you
have
to the audience.
It was the first great gift
that
that John
auteur
Roddenberry gave
movie making thing that's going to make people go, yes, these Avengers movies. That's why people watch movies. That's why people make movies. That's why people spend time and exhaust themselves and drive
Mention
themselves
in the behind the
insane
scenes that
and
Brent
meet
Spiner's
deadlines and
friend John
budgets and do
Logan
all
wrote
kinds
the
of crazy
script,
stuff to make
hence the
art.
excessive Brent Spiner screen time.
Like,
And frankly, I'm enough of a
it's
Brent
kind
Spiner
of
fan
the...
that I like seeing him play more
No,
than
I shouldn't say it's the laziest
Let's also
filmmaking ever,
mention
because
that
a lot of
Patrick
people work
Stewart
hard on
loved
it, but it's
cars and
like,
driving and off-roading in real life.
it feels
He'd
like
be
so
more happy
cookie
with the
cutter. It's
script
like
if we had
everything
seen
is
him have to
already
drive a dune
laid
buggy.
out for you, and
I've always enjoyed driving. I really enjoy driving, and it's something I think about. And
hey, funny you mentioned the Emoji Movie, because Patrick Stewart's in it.
Rick Berman doesn't
He
care
plays
about the Star
poop.
Trek legacy anymore, and he seems like some kind of idiot, so he didn't object. So the result is the dumbest sequence in Star Trek history: a dune buggy chase. Really? No, really, this is real.
It's inspired
This was
Mass
actually
Effect.
filmed and put in a Star Trek movie. Yes, the enlightened Captain Picard, who loves playing flutes, drinking tea, and reading
Avengers
Shakespeare,
Endgame was good with
also
Thanos'
loves
character
redneck
arc, but
off-roading.
yes, Disney didn't
Can
care about
anything
the
be
quality
more
anymore.
out
The
of
movies are
character?
just being manufactured
So you're
and put
telling
together.
me that
Take the Star Wars
Enterprise has a
movies.
superb
Take
craft
Disney
in which almost
movies
the
like
entire
since the
space inside
90s.
it is devoted
All
to
those,
building a vehicle that's less useful
that's why
than
I
a
was
craft
surprised,
of
because I'm
ours.
like,
A shuttlecraft can fly
Disney
around,
used to try and pull
hover,
like their
land in
bullshit on
midair,
home
fly
video
up into
releases,
the
but at
air
least
to
they tried to
escape,
release something in
save
theaters
other
that was
dune
like
buggies. So what can
kind
the
of
Argo
novel.
do? Hold only
And
three
now they're
crew
basically,
members.
what they've done is they've
Provide
taken
no
their home video
protection from the
strategy, like,
elements
let's
of alien
re-release
worlds.
something people
Provide
already
no low
know and we
storage
can make money
capacity.
off of.
Is unable to get
But
around
they've created this
mountains,
new
rivers,
way
or
that makes
other
them even
natural
more money
barriers. Had only
because they
one
have all these
compartment
companies
intact that
set up to
houses a
bill
giant
and do
laser tube,
Hollywood
only useful
accounting.
if you happen to get in a
So
chase scene with other
Disney
land-based
makes
vehicles.
money making
Jeez, this
movies
thing reminds me of a
with
He-Man toy or
companies
something.
posting
Now,
losses
after
so they
doing
can
some
collect on
research, I
insurance
found
and
out that
other
Argo is the
benefits
trademark
and
brand
stuff
that
like
makes
that.
ATVs.
And it's this
I assume they're
black hole of
responsible
money
for the
that's just
design and
sucking
the creation of the
actual
Shingon
money away
Nautilus,
from people
sure.
who work
Yeah, it was
hard
named
and
after the
reinvest it
mythical
back
ship
into the
Argo,
country,
but that was the
and it
ship.
just goes down
This
this
was a dune
spiral
buggy.
black hole into
I don't
these
know.
like
Nor
rich
do I really care. What I do
corporate.
know is that the only thing spinning faster than those tires is
Actually,
Gene
nothing wrong with
Roddenberry
being
in his
corporate,
grave,
you know.
number 6.
Some people it works, some
Picard
people it
loses a
doesn't.
bet.
But yeah, it's like it's
Apparently, in his
so
academy days, Picard had
um
lost a bet. Then, although he was used to having a great head of hair that the
stifling.
ladies loved, he agreed to take a smiling picture of himself shortly after he lost the bet and shaved his head. After careful
Lenolal,
analysis of
this
this
guy's
movie by a
voice is
team
exactly
from
what
the
you
Hair
think when
Club
someone
for
says the
Men,
word
we have come
boomer.
up with one of two possible
And that is
explanations of the
beautiful.
picture. That Picard lost a bet, or the filmmakers think the audience is stupid. I'm going with the latter. I have a feeling a conversation like this happened.
So Picard's clone is just like him then?
No, that's been done too much.
So he's younger then?
Yeah.
But he's got to be bald, because if he's not bald, then the audience, even if we tell them, still won't understand that he's Picard's clone, because Picard is the bald captain. If he's not bald, then no one will understand what's happening.
Okay, he's bald. So I'm willing to accept the fact that Shinzon probably shaved his head to look more like the Remans. But why does young Picard have a shaved head? We all remember what Picard looked like when he was a cadet. He wasn't always bald. Remember that time when Picard's DNA got reverted and he ended up like a child? He had hair. Even the young clone Picard had hair. Additionally, when Dr. Crusher has a flashback to some time in the past when Picard was a little younger, we see the last remnants of his hairline. And while these examples are technically a Q recreation, a DNA transporter accident, and a nightmare brought on by a telepath, I still present them as evidence that Picard had male pattern baldness. That, and he has a clear crown line on the back of his head. So then why does this photo show a cadet Picard that looks exactly like Shinzon? The answer is, they think the audience is stupid. This photo would look like this.
I
Picture of
mean,
a young Picard
they
as
are.
a cadet with hair. I guess we're all supposed to scratch our thick monkey.
The nice thing is, though, I think
why is Picard staring at a picture of some
we've
guy?
gotten to a point where
Even though the
basically
following
the
dialogue
only
that Dr.
movies that are
Crusher
released
explains what the
theatrically
photo is,
anymore are
if the
garbage
cadet didn't
movies,
look
like things that are
exactly
just
like Shinzon,
absolute
we'd all be confused.
useless,
We're not that
banal,
dumb.
like
Now, this is kind of like if they made a
big
film
Hollywood
or
stuff.
even had a scene in a
And
film
it's
that
like you
featured
go
Abraham
to
Lincoln as a
international
boy,
film
they'd have him
festivals,
wearing a
and
stovepipe hat and a
that's where
fake
you
beard.
see actual good
That's how
movies
dumb the
anymore.
filmmakers think we are. Enough
And
about
when
that.
it comes to
Listen, I'm almost certain
distribution,
I'm gonna hit it big
you
on
just
this slot machine.
download it
I just
online.
need a couple $1,000 more bucks. I promise I'm gonna pay it back when I win.
Or heck, even
Scene
Netflix is
cast
getting
member
really
2.
good at making like
Trump Taj
genuine
Mahal Casino
movie
Hotel.
like content
Thereof,
that's
number 7. Lights.
good.
Camera.
Trying to think, have they done an
Action?
animated
I think I've
movie
already
yet?
established why the TNG
I think they
movies
have.
totally
What did they
suck.
do? Klaus?
It's because of comments like this.
I think the audience wants Star Trek to be an action movie.
Wrong! Wrong, you asshole! Wrong! What we want is a good story. Some good dialogue. Characters that were on the show.
Oh man.
Not one-dimensional
What's his
action
name? The
movie
guy who plays
recreations
Riker.
of them. When producers and actors start meddling with the movie and develop the story, it always comes out like a big Lincoln log.
Can't
Action
remember
is
it.
great, but pointless action is boring. That needs to be balanced out with a good story. B4 got more brains than this story.
Why does the tall man have a furry face?
Now I'll admit, Nemesis is a good action movie. But what is action?
They should hire the guy who did
like
the
to reference
Gargoyles
a Next
cartoon
Gen
to do a
episode
Star
called
Trek
Power Play. I like
movie.
this one. In this episode, aliens possess Troy, Data, and O'Brien.
We were brought to this moon over 5 centuries ago from a star system called Uxmal.
At first they pretend to be the
Uxmal.
ghosts of an old dead Starfleet crew, but we later learn that they're prisoners of some kind of weird alien penal colony. Why am I talking about this episode? Because it's a good example of action. Every action has a purpose which propels the story. They got a shuttlecraft accident, get knocked down by lightning, then they attempt to take over the ship to take hostages, but they got a mission. The rest of the episode is kind of like a power struggle between them and Picard. The good guys, they think of a plan, they try some things, and then the stakes get higher when they fail. There's even a crying baby that's threatened. Eventually we arrive at the exciting climax of the story, and the big action scene is, get ready. It's people walking down a hallway. Yep, moving from 10 forward to the cargo bay is the centerpiece of the exciting ending.
I mean,
To me,
that
this
is
100
a
times
pretty
more
powerful
exciting than
power
watching
walk.
Riker pointlessly fight with a monster.
Kill him! Murder him! Shed his blood. That is the nature of Star Trek.
What was the alien's final goal? How was Picard gonna outwit them? Did he have a trick up his sleeve? What was gonna happen to the hostages? These were things I cared about. People walking down a hallway ends up being more exhilarating than a needlessly long chase sequence with absolutely no tension or consequence. Or a pointless space battle. In the Wrath of Khan, each phaser hit was important, and it changed the nature of the situation. In Nemesis, ships pointlessly fire at each other for 45 minutes. Proving the point that excessive action isn't necessarily effective action.
It's like, if we have space combat,
Number
it's
8.
going to basically
What's
mirror
up
what
with
we already do
Shinzon?
with, like,
So the Romulans cloned Captain Picard
Earth-based
so they could replace him
ship
in some kind of
combat. So
devious
you're not going to
plan.
have
So then they
boom,
abandon
boom,
the whole
boom,
thing
firing off shot
because it's
after
too
shot. You're
risky
going to
or something.
have, like,
But they send the little kid to
one or
work in
two
a
homing
mine.
things fired off,
They sent me there to die.
Oh, they sent him there to
and
die.
you basically
Why don't
confirm
they
a
just
kill.
gas him? Or put him in a 1982 Cadillac DeVille and slam it into a tree at 85 miles an hour. Or slit his wrists in the
Like,
bathtub.
if they actually
And then
depicted
pay
the
a
space
prostitute
battles
to write a
realistically
suicide
to like
note
how
for you.
Star Trek
And then
technology
push
would
her down
work,
a well to make sure she
then
don't
you
tell
wouldn't
nobody.
see
Point
ships like
is,
firing
Romulans
lasers
are
at
in
each
the
other in
business
close
of dirty
proximity and
business.
dodging. You just see like
To
one
keep
ship
him alive.
getting
A
hit by
5-year-old
stuff,
really
and
gonna
that's
help
it.
out in the mine? He's just gonna grow up and have his life conveniently form the background plot for a B-grade sci-fi action movie. On that note, the Remans and Shinzon were all slave labor, right? They say Remans were the lowest caste in Romulan society.
The Remans themselves are considered an undesirable caste in the hierarchy of the
Is that supposed to be like Reman and Romulus?
Cannon fodder.
Hey, I just said that. So for one, how did Shinzon and them escape and have the time to build the scimitar without having the Romulan
Just
Empire and
coincidence that we get to
Tal Shiar
space in
find
Star
them?
Trek and they have things
Furthermore,
named
how does a
after
kid who never
Roman
went to school
history?
and a bunch of
And we're
monsters
supposed
that
to
work in a
believe
mine
that?
have the
Coincidence?
resources or know-how to even build a massive ship like that with a perfect cloak?
His cloak is perfect. From building the scimitar to secret base.
Oh.
Yeah, and like a lot of the
secret
episodes
base.
of Star Trek that are the best are
Where?
the ones where they deal
How?
with the fallout
With who?
of
Yes,
violence
the
and
Remans
failure
knew a
to
lot
have
about
diplomacy,
mining, so they probably could have dug
and
up
you
some
see
materials,
like
but that would have been a
major
pretty
catastrophes or
massive operation. Would have
problems or
attracted a
like
lot of
humanitarian
attention.
things
Then
they're
you'd need
trying to
things
help
like
out with. So,
torpedoes, some antimatter,
like, yeah, it's so weird for Star Trek to like
Ustream.
even have an
You'd think
action
even
scene
before they
because
laid down the first
fundamentally
bulkhead, they'd be
the
surrounded by a
premises of
fleet
Star Trek is
Romulan
to
warriors.
avoid action scenes.
So then for no reason, Shinzon wants to take over as the leader of Romulans. Which at first he attempts to do politically. Then when that fails, he does it by force.
Oh, they got
Charge of
cooties.
Romulans, and all they want him to do is to start a war with the Federation.
Those space cooties, man,
even though
will
they
get to
just
you.
got done with the costly war with the Dominion. But was Shinzon's goal just to exterminate the population of Earth? If so, then he already had the capacity to do that without the Romulans' help.
You're doing this to liberate the Remans.
That is the single thought behind everything I have done.
He already freed the Remans.
And in that dark place where there was nothing of myself, I found my Riemann brothers. They showed me the only true kindness I ever known. Kill him.
I guess the director was confused too.
The Shinzon character can't be just a straight bad guy. He's not a bad guy.
You are a bad guy, but you are not bad
He's not planning
guy.
he's planning it.
These aliens just look straight up like
That's
vampires.
the whole essence of
Kill everything on that ship.
as I understand, of Star
Hey asshole, we don't know what's going on in the movie. When we know what a bad guy wants to accomplish without changing his mind every 5 minutes, I guess it creates some tension. Let's recap. Shinzon accomplished his goal of escaping the mine and freeing the Remans before the movie started. After that, it gets hazy. He didn't want to kill Picard,
I was merely curious about him.
but then later he does.
My life is meaningless as long as you're still alive.
He wanted to be the next Praetor, but he seemed irritated when he had to do the whole Praetor thing and talk to Romulans. If you wanted to be the leader of the Romulan Empire, you should expect some conference calls. He needed Picard for the blood transfusion to save his own life, but he never really seemed interested in doing it. I guess he was always planning to attack Earth, but why?
Do not forget our mission, Shinzon.
Aw, thank you, Unslayable Raptor.
Spend 18 hours every day.
Just in case you need to hear this today, you're loved and valued. Even if you don't think you are, things might be rough now, but you just need to keep sticking through it.
And he probably never did.
It's going to be hard, but you can do it.
Maybe
I
he fucked
believe
a
in you.
Reman in the ass, but he really wanted a girl. Maybe Shinzon should have taken the scimitar over to Ryza for a little vacation before the movie started.
Angel Whitefire, hello. Hello. Or sorry, hello.
Could have played some volleyball in the pool.
I don't care. He, she,
And
whatever.
of course, picked up some ladies on
Just don't
spring
call me
break.
late for supper,
Spring
am I
break.
right? Ha ha!
Shinzon reminds me of Dr. Evil. From the moment I saw Shinzon, I knew something was wrong. He reminded me too much of Dr. Evil.
I'm going to place him in an easily escapable situation involving an overly elaborate and exotic death.
They were going to replace you with me.
He was bald and had a big nose.
And that is to have sharks with
I'm a freaking evil genius, okay? Give me some
Wore an evil
freaking
costume
respect.
With shoulder pads. He was the head of an evil organization, and he even had a scar on his face. And that, of course,
Mr.
it
Plinkett
sounded
almost sounds like Dr. Evil.
I want you to meet Daddy's nemesis.
You know,
A lifetime of violence will do that. They were going to replace you.
Mini-me.
I know Kyonko is a sweetheart.
Welcome to my moon
Not a
base.
sweetheart. I'm a
You've all been chosen to be part
horrible,
of my elite
smelly
moon
fox thing.
Dr. Evil, while you were frozen, we began a program to clone you.
Cool.
Send in the clown!
He is exactly like you in every way.
I know Kyonko's secret identity. Soon his reign of evil will end. I thought my reign was very pleasant. I didn't think it was evil. I mean, yeah, I killed a couple of people, but, you know, they wouldn't wear the maid outfits.
Ouch, baby.
Foxes do
Number
smell,
10.
but your heart
Other
doesn't.
things happen.
Yes, you are correct. That is my nose that smells.
So
Very
there's this
good.
red
You paid
planet near the
attention
Romulan
in
border,
class.
which has suspicious positronic signatures on it. Dangerous
OMG,
mining
let's watch
zones,
Austin Powers
and an
now.
undeveloped
We can
culture
watch
of
Austin
monsters,
Powers some
tanks,
night
and
in the
machine guns.
Discord if you want, Lanolao.
This really looks like
Just
a
ask
trap
me and
to
I'll put it
sir.
on.
So we see that Captain Janeway has been promoted to Admiral. Shouldn't she be in a prison?
Well, I'm overriding those protocols.
An alliance with the Borg?
More like an exchange. We offer them a way to defeat their new enemy. We get safe passage through their space. You're forgetting the Temporal Prime Directive, Captain. The hell with it.
Diplomacy, Captain? Your diplomacy destroyed my world.
For the duration of this mission, the Prime Directive is rescinded.
Your heart, your hands, your eyes are the same as mine.
No, they're not. Picard is an artificial heart.
Initiate the force field.
Excuse me, sir? I have a question. What's the point of that force field? Do you really think it's gonna contain a warp core breach? How about you put that force field around the tubes with the flesh-melting gas?
I don't appreciate you talking about my pee smelling. That's
you know,
like...
the first thing that's gonna
pretty
happen
lewd,
when
man.
we get hit is that force field's gonna go offline. Oh, there it goes.
So if the Remans built the scimitar, why didn't they design the buttons to be a little easier to press for large monster hands with huge fingernails? So Picard tries to activate the self-destruct, but it's offline.
Auto-destruct is offline.
Whew. Yep, guess we can't blow the ship up. Oh well. I won't tell anyone that you could have just fired a phaser at the warp core. Your secret is safe with me. I'm a coward too. So the Remans were bred for combat, eh? No one really taught them how to aim their weapons though, did they? So when monsters beam over to the Enterprise, Picard gives Riker the order to go ahead and stop them. Really? The first officer? Gee, don't they have a security force that can do that kind of work? Riker should be on the bridge in case he needs to take command in place of Picard. But I know why he went. Because the script needed something for Riker to do. And when a main character is set off to have a pointless fight with a monster to give him something to do, there are problems. Should have another rewrite.
Somebody has to save our skins. Into the garbage, fly boy.
Number 11, the ending.
Makes you feel any better in life. He smells pretty bad.
It's kind of like slightly different.
Deploy the collector.
Deploy the weapon.
Remain at your post, Bridge Commander. Try and put some distance between you and the scimitar.
1 minute before separation, you'll see the cryogenic tanks vent. Weapons fire could ignite the exhaust. Intruder alert. Intruder alert. Separation in 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
4 minutes to firing sequence.
So they're gonna team up with a fleet of starships to take on Shinzon. That's good, that makes sense. But instead of telling them, hey guys, we'll meet halfway, okay? Keep your eye out
Starfleet,
for us.
more like
Picard goes to
Star
them. They plot
Neats,
a course
because
through
they're a
the
bunch
giant
of
green nebula that apparently knows
nerds.
will muffle their communications. Gee, what a great place for an ambush. Then the fleet just sits there.
Hey, where's Picard? I don't know. We lost contact with them after they entered that giant green nebula.
That Romulan broad figured out where they were, and she was in Romulus. She didn't even know where Picard was headed to either. She just found him in the green nebula. So let's get to the battle at the end. Even though I didn't read the script, I had a feeling that Picard was going to face off with Shinzon and something was going to blow up. At least they didn't say time's up. So let's talk about this ending. After shooting at each other for 2 hours, both ships are out of ammo.
We've exhausted our complement of photon torpedoes.
Disruptors are not functional, sir.
Picard rams the Enterprise into Shinzon's ship, but that still doesn't stop him from turning on his death ray. They only have enough power to beam over one person, and of course Picard goes over for movie purposes. Let's think about this for 1 second. You know, part of the responsibility of being a commander in Starfleet means that sometimes you might have to order someone to their death. Picard really should have sent over Worf, given him a bat lift and some phasers and a knife, and said, Worf, kill everything you see and shut down that green thing before it kills everyone. You're not gonna make it back, but you're gonna save the ship and the Earth. See, Worf loves fighting monsters. And he would love to die in battle.
To die defending one ship is the hope of every Klingon.
Instead, a 65-year-old man with arthritis goes. Picard risks the safety of the Earth and his crew because it's...
Data, this is something I have to do.
something he needs to do. Y'all remember when Picard got his ass handed to him by Malcolm McDonald, right? A little short elderly man kicked the shit out of him. So what, he's gonna go up against 26 Remans? That to me was a bonehead move as a commander. But this is an action movie, and the main character has to face off with the bad guy at the end. I might remind you though that in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, Kirk was never on screen with Khan. They never felt like they had to have Kirk beam over to the Reliant to fight with Khan. And then
I wonder,
set
how
the
would you say
Reliant to
milady in
auto-destruct.
Klingon?
See, every movie doesn't have to be the same. So anyways, let's talk about what happens. Picard beams over, he shoots people, they shoot back. Shinzon makes weird faces. They fight their way up to the green thing, they fall down, Picard loses his phaser, Data floats over, Shinzon gets impaled, he uses like a transporter thing to get Picard off the ship, then he blows himself up, and it's time for my chicken tenders. I'll be back.
Chicken tendies!
I like
absent friends.
To absent friends.
So what happened to all of our beloved characters? Well, Picard stayed on as captain. Data's dead, of course. Riker took command of the Titan and brought Troy with him. Then they both died in a transporter accident. Beverly Crusher committed suicide. Worf became a spokesperson for Weight Watchers. Or wait, no. He became a Klingon governor. Geordi LaForge became an old man or something. Oh wait, that timeline didn't happen. No, Geordi LaForge became the captain of the USS Challenger.
This is Captain LaForge of the Starship Challenger.
And then, oh wait, no, that timeline didn't happen either. Wait, none of this happened. So you're emailing me if you want a pizza roll. Post a comment on this webpage if you want a pizza roll.
Martin Scorsese's 2002 film Gangs of New York, based on Herbert Asbury's novel of the same name, is a sweeping historical drama. Scorsese called the film a historical opera, and I think that is pretty accurate. This wide epic covers the Irish priest Vallon, his Irish gang the Dead Rabbits, and their multi-generational struggle against William the Butcher Cutting and his anti-immigrant and anti-Catholic nativist gangs. From massive gang battles to Vallon's son struggling with what it means to be Irish or to have a father, the film strongly focuses on the experience of Irish immigrants in New York in the mid-1800s. The film starts in 1846 with Vallon and concludes with his son, who goes by Amsterdam, getting caught up in the 1863 New York City draft riots. In this review, we are going to examine the history behind the movie, where it gets the history right, and where it could have done better. Let's dive right into Gangs of New York. Part 1, 5 points in New York City life. Martin Scorsese went all out in recreating the 5 Points area of New York City for this film. Located at a strange intersection of 5 streets, this area was notorious in the early 1800s for its drinking, prostitution, crime, racial mixing, and squalor. For this film set, he actually built multiple square blocks in Rome in order to really capture the setting, and he based it off multiple contemporary paintings and engravings. We see
That's funny, Gangs of New York was filmed in Rome.
A staple of 5 Points in the first half of the 1800s. Originally intended to be mixed-use development where shop owners could live and work in the same building, landlords saw the influx of immigrants and decided to partition the buildings into multiple tiny tenement apartments in order to get more money. This led to multiple families cramming into small, often windowless spaces. The courtyards of these tenements usually had one water pump which was right next to a few outhouses, leading to very unsanitary conditions. The first scene of the film shows the notorious brewery tenement, which at one point reportedly housed over 1,000 residents, including some in the damp, partially sunken basement. These buildings often didn't have heat, leading to very cold winters, but the later brick tenements were stifling and hot in summers. As late as 1858, the New York Herald said of 5 Points that it was a nest of drunkenness, roguery, debauchery, vice, and pestilence. In 1842, Charles
Sounds like Vegas, am I right, fellas?
5 Points. Here too are lanes and alleys paved with mud knee-deep, underground chambers where they dance and game, the walls bedecked with rough designs of ships and forts and flags and American eagles out of number. Ruined houses open to the street, whence through wide gaps in the walls, other ruins loom upon the eye. as though the world of vice and misery had nothing else to show. Hideous tenements which take their name from robbery and murder. All that is loathsome, drooping, and decayed is here. So the neighborhood
Sounds a
had a
bit like Wall
reputation
Street,
well
if you
into the
ask me.
1850s, though historian Tyler Onbender notes that the Irish immigrants were improving it and that by 1863, where most of the film takes place, it wouldn't have been quite as bad. In fact, the brewery building, I'm sorry to say, was demolished by 1853, so other than the first scene, it wouldn't have existed for the rest of the movie. In fact, by this point, landlords were seeing even more dollar signs and were actually building 4 or 5-story brick tenements to cram in even more immigrants. So the 5 points of the 1863 part of the film was a bit behind the times as far as the look. What we see here is that the movie gets the feel and the themes of the era right, though it really plays fast and loose with the actual years and events. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Part 2, Gang Life in 19th Century New York. Gang violence is a large part of the film and consequently was part of New York City life in the mid-19th century. To quote Luc Sante in his 1991 work Low Life, the basic unit of social life among young males in New York in the 19th century was, as it perhaps is still and ever more shall be, the gang. The Manhattan of the immigrants, gangs were an important marker, a sort of social stake driven in. Violence was a normal part of life in their always contested environment. Turf war was a condition of the neighborhood. Mary Ryan, in her work Civic Wars, points out that public displays of mob democracy, including violence, weren't a bug of the early 19th century, but a feature. Quote, in 1834 and late into the next decade, the streets of New York remained open and hospitable to democratic speech even when it got a little raucous. In fact, a riot was not so much a breakdown of democratic process as its conduct by another means. The Irish and nativist gangs of the film, the Bowery Boys, the Plug Uglies, the Dead Rabbits, the Atlantic Guard, and so on, were from the Asbury book and were true to history. In fact, depictions of the Bowery Boys, one of the nativist gangs, with their suits and their distinct stovetop hats and bright colors, are generally well done in the film. Historian Tyler Onbender points out that many of these gangs weren't just thieves, robbers, pickpockets, or gamblers, but rather political gangs meant to carve out a niche for their people or their beliefs. The Bowery Boys and Atlantic Guard would go to defend their polling places or attack Irish polling places during elections. In fairness to the film, some of these gangs were into crime, as we've seen in the newspaper, and the Dickens quotes about 5.
It's like back then they literally beat you up for voting. And I guess now we're kind of fortunate. It's like, we're worried about,
file her teeth and give herself claws for gang
what am I
fights.
thinking here?
The film shows
Oh yeah,
not
the
just
postal
battles
office.
over criminal enterprises and turf, but also battles over which police and fire franchises held sway in certain areas. The movie also points out how the New York City Metropolitan and Municipal Police were in fierce rivalries with one another, leading to some wiggle room that allowed criminal gangs to fill the gaps. The opening gang battle is an interesting set piece. We are introduced to the hero characters, both sides are color-coded, and then we're treated to a massive fight between hundreds of individuals that left scores dead or wounded. It almost looks like a medieval battle more than something from the mid-19th century. So was New York City in the 5 Points an eternal bloodbath? The answer was rarely, but there were a few instances where this was plausible. In 1849, a bit after the first battle of the film, a squabble between 2 actors and their supporters turned into an event known as the Astor Place Riots. Taking place in May, this turned into a 3-day riot which did actually have nativist gangs fighting Irish gangs, and while it was a bit more complex,
I feel like there's some parallel to like modern day and like people in Hollywood saying something and then people getting pissed off and starting fights.
over 40 wounded, with tens of police and militia wounded as well. So while massive explosions of gang violence did happen, unlike the film, the police and militia would definitely have stepped in to try to break up such a large gang fight by the 1840s and beyond. Mary Ryan points out that the police and militia...
Oh, Nightmare Maverick is now following. Thank you so much.
...back and reduce gang influence. Another candidate for a fight like this could be the 1857 Dead Rabbits riot. The Dead Rabbits, hoping to exploit the rivalry between the municipal and metropolitan...
Kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit, now the wabbits will be dead.
This would be accurate in that it was a group of Irish gangs against generally anti-Irish gangs and forces. The riot did involve huge numbers, but the end casualties were only 8 killed and 30 to 100 injured. Most gang violence usually only had 1 or 2 fatalities, so the end result is that while Scorsese did an entertaining job showing this medieval-style battle going on in the middle of New York City, these events were quite rare in the gang world, but not impossible. Speaking of gangs, let's take a closer look at the major antagonist of the film, William the Butcher Cutting. Part 3, The Butcher. While the priest Valen and his son Amsterdam were fictitious, there was an actual butcher named William Poole. He was a founding member of the Bowery Boys, and as we learned earlier, they were a heavily political anti-Catholic, anti-Irish, and pro-Protestant gang. The historical Poole was a boxer and a large guy, and definitely known for political fighting. His group would show up and cause trouble, especially during elections, but the real Poole is less famous for being involved in the theft and taking of tribute that we see in the film. Most of his illegal activity in history involved his personal vices of gambling, drinking, and fighting. He was also a firefighter, so in the film, when we see the fire companies battling for who's going to get to put out a fire and control territory, that's pretty close to the actual history with Poole, just kind of within the wrong time frame if you're starting to see a trend. In addition, Poole and his Bowery Boys were usually outside the 5 points and probably wouldn't have posted up in the middle of the Irish stronghold, but rather skirmished with them on the outskirts, trying to protect
I read
what they
that
saw as their territory.
back with
He was
in
seen to be a
Rome,
competent
like the
knife fighter
first
dude with
historical
skills, so that
firefighting
part
group
was accurate.
were guys that
A lot of this was
would
depicted
show up
really well
to
by
your
the
house
film.
as it was
The event
burning,
was changed a lot to make things
and
more
then
dramatic. There was an Irish
they would
assassination attempt on his life in 1855, but unlike the film, it was successful. John Morrissey,
oh
an
shit, yeah.
Irish
So they'd
immigrant
show
who
up
was
to the
a political
fire,
and a
and then
boxing
they
rival of
negotiate with
Poole's,
you
had him
for a price to save
assassinated
your
in March of
house.
1855.
And
After
the
7
price
days,
was selling
witnesses
your
again
land.
killed
So
Poole.
basically,
Morrissey was
it was a
also
matter
bringing a
of
tammany ring under
what
the wall
possessions,
stage, which
was
the
it worth
film
saving
shows what
possessions
became the New
inside
York Democratic
to sell
political
your
scene
house?
and the influx of Irish immigrants and gangs getting caught up in it. Once again, the film is getting the spirit of the
She's
times
like,
correct in the themes,
it's not
but it
really a
doesn't want to
firefighting
dictate the
service as we
actual
think of it
flow and
today.
events
It's
and
like,
time
they
frames.
fought.
Speaking of the spirit of the film, let's talk about one of the core stories of themes in Gangs in New York.
They fought fires,
Part
but
4, the Irish in U.S.
not
society.
like actively
The
and
film
nobly.
starts with the priest Valen explaining to a young Amsterdam the importance of St. Michael in the Catholic faith, and that tone really carries on throughout the movie. The gangs, the dirty politics, and the draft riots of 1863 are all different aspects of the story of Irish immigrants to the United States and New York City. While Irish immigrants had been coming to the United States for years, the Irish potato famine of 1845 and 1846 changed everything. The 1845 and 1846 potato crops blighted
And
the
then it's
market
funny
and
because
lost
like
up to
modern
40%
America
of
has
yields
like
during those 2 years.
one of the
When a
top paid
population went
conservative
below
news
4 and
critics
potatoes is
with the
essential to
last
their
name
diet, this led
O'Reilly.
to over 1 million people starving and 1.5 million people emigrating, with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of those fleeing to the United States. All this out of a nation of only 9 million people. These hundreds of thousands of immigrants were flooding into a country of only 23 million people by 1850.
But yeah, it's like it was interesting to watch this movie and see like how
States
much things have
demographics.
changed
The Irish were
when
also
back
predominantly
then, you know, being
Catholic, and they
Irish
were
was
heading
enough
to
to
a
get you
nation that was
treated
heavily
like
Protestant.
garbage. Can you imagine
While
today
both
if in
groups
America
were
someone
aware,
was
in only
refusing service to
25 years,
someone
from
for being
1830 to
Irish? How
1855, the
ridiculous that would
population in the
seem.
5 Points area nearly doubled. By
It's
then,
it makes you wonder
first-generation
if
immigrants accounted for
maybe other things that we
72%
think
of
of
the
today
area's
might seem
population.
ridiculous in
One
the
outcome of
future.
this new, cruelly congested kind of city was the first American slum. Another was the street gang. We already saw that as early as the 1830s, tenements were trying to cram as many people into unsanitary conditions as possible in the 5 Points. With the arrival of new Irish immigrants, the tenements grew larger but even more packed with the newcomers. This meant that from the 1830s to the 1850s, new Irish immigrants, being Catholic and in many cases poor refugees, were seen as a
Well, yeah,
threat
that's the
by
thing is
some
it's like
Americans. Known as
it's nothing
natives
new
or
to
Americans,
America
these
or
white
other places.
Protestant
Like
groups were
everywhere in the
seen as
world
the anti-Catholic and
has
anti-immigrant, which made the Irish a double threat in their
people who will
minds.
see new
They weren't
people
just
coming
afraid of
in
white
as a
politicians and
danger to the
jobs,
status
but
quo.
also changes in culture. They were often against drinking, religious schools,
It's
and
not
even
even like
abortion,
people from other
to name a
countries. You can
few.
just go from one town
Like
to
I explained
another and there can be
earlier, this
inter
led
like
to not
city
just gang
rivalry and
warfare causing caused by
Oh, we don't
pride,
take kindly to
fear,
you Missouri
or
City
particular
boys here.
politics. The film does a good job showing the importance of the Irish trying to control aldermen, fire brigades, police, and of course their first sheriff. The Irish were also seen by Tammany Hall as a useful source of votes, and the New York City Democrats did scoop them up and ally with them throughout the 1840s and 1850s. John Morrissey, that Irish immigrant who had the historical Bill the Butcher Poole killed, ended up being a Democratic politician for New York. That said, that scene with the Irishmen being made citizens and immediately recruited to the military off the boat is a stretch. At that time, citizenship would usually take 5 years, but going into the army would reduce that to 1 year.
Ooh,
As a
special weather
result, young
statement.
Irishmen did join the Union Army to expedite the process of citizenship, but the ship scene dials this up to 11 and makes it just a bit too far-fetched. Also, for good measure, voting at that time wouldn't have been done behind a curtain with a pencil. In fact, the lack of privacy in voting was one of the contributing factors to the level of violence, intimidation, and coercion that went on during elections, which the film does a really good job at illustrating. Overall, the film gets the spirit of the Irish experiences in the US more or less correct, even if it's off by about a decade. For example, the Know-Nothings as an official political party were fading out of favor by the 1860s, so seeing a Know-Nothing poster in 1863 would have probably been unlikely, though nativist sentiment was still around. Newspaper and cartoon depictions of the Irish often showed them as subhumans or as a Catholic threat to Protestant children. No Irish Need Apply signs did exist in the US and were often posted alongside signs disregarding black workers as well. That said, by the 1860s, Onbender argued that the Irish were starting to improve the 5 points in a statute.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Smith. Top of the morning to you. I hope you're doing well. May the good Lord bless and keep you, and the sunshine find its way to guide you throughout the day. Bless you, sweetie.
Points to the
Fuck
Irish
off, you
police
Irish
and fire
bitch.
departments as a major tool for becoming seen as white or American. If you click this link, you can see more about the history of whiteness in the US, but the film actually points out that the Irish were not seen as white. When Bill the Butcher uses the N-word to refer to a would-be Irish assassin, the film isn't just about a fight between rival criminal enterprises, but the definitions of what it means to be white or what it means to be American. That brings us to the final scene of the film.
Yeah, like that's how far they would go, is like they even said like these Irish people, they're more like people that come from Africa than us. Like they were willing to bend the very rules of geography just to like
Final battle between the Butcher and Amsterdam, the Confederacy,
argue.
American patriots, and the Dead Rabbits, the nativists and the Irish. Then, as the two sides are about to have their final battle, they're completely overtaken by the events of the 1863 New York City draft riots. The film had been building up to this event subtly throughout. We see nativists yelling and throwing slurs at black citizens. We see unrest about the fact that men were exempt from the draft for $300, thus portraying it as a war for the rich fought by the poor. At one point, nativists yell out that Lincoln wants to make white men into slaves. At first, it seems like the film is going to take the easy way out and only show the nativists as being the virulent racists. And then the riot scene occurs. Let's get some inaccuracies out of the way.
That's ridiculous. Lincoln didn't turn white people into slaves. Walmart did.
New York City. But right when I thought the film wouldn't be realistic in its portrayal about race, they show mostly Irish mobs performing lynchings. You hear the ticker text talk about black boarding schools and orphanages being raided right along with government buildings. The Irish and other immigrant groups with many lower semi-skilled workers viewed free black people as direct labor competition. As such, at least 10 black people were lynched during the riots, so it wasn't just about the draft in opposition to
Damn, that's cold.
to end slavery. Earlier we discussed how Noel Ignatieff and how the Irish became
Like not just killing them because like you're racist, but because they like
themselves as Americans.
threaten your
Also
job.
argued that they used violence against black people to distinguish themselves as white. We saw the Butcher directly compare the Irish to black people using a slur in the film, but depictions of the Irish as non-white or direct comparisons with African Americans were not uncommon. The Irish were not just in labor competition with African Americans, but they were in a battle to carve out a slice of whiteness. The film makes sure to include the racial, economic, and political stresses that led to the draft riots, and it doesn't dance around any of these issues, including race. If you take out the gang battle, the Union Navy, and it being winter, this depiction is visceral but pretty close to reality. With this event being part of the Irish quest for belonging, it makes sense now why Scorsese fudged so many of the other events to fit this finale into the timeline. To drive the point home, the draft riots interrupt the final gang battle, leading to a rather anticlimactic struggle between a tired and depleted Amsterdam and Cutting, as if to show that the focus of society and New York City had moved on by then. Speaking of race, fans of the depictions of Chinatown and the Chinese in this film would be disappointed to know that again, Scorsese's playing fast and loose with the time frame. Chinatown becomes an important part of New York City, but the Chinese population in New York was small at this time, and Chinese women were rare enough that newspapers would remark when they gave birth to children. By the later 1800s, you might see more Chinese immigrants, but by 1863, this wasn't quite accurate. Part 6 Conclusions. Overall, Scorsese did a fantastic job capturing the look and feel of New York in the
I
five
think
points in
like
the early to mid-1800s.
his method of doing historical films is a really good one because it's like it's really hard to get things totally accurate, but if you can capture that idea you're looking for from that time period, like if you have something set in the Napoleonic era, you're trying to express some interesting story that could only be told during that time period. So, you got to use it.
If you can put aside most of the people being fabricated or being in the wrong time period and the dates being messed up by a couple decades, then this story does a great job capturing the themes of the era, if not the
And given the usual track record for human history, being able to be off by a few decades is pretty damn accurate.
Historical accuracy, and I'm inclined to agree with his assessment. As a film, I love it, though nearly 3 hours of runtime does make it a bit of a beast. Some have accused it of cherry-picking atrocities and the worst riots in American history to portray America in a negative light, but I personally believe that showing the mob politics and riots as part of American life in the first half.
How is that your takeaway from it? That it's about like just making America look like crap? This is a beautiful part of America. This is part of the struggle of people dying and living and thriving for something they believe in.
Thank you all for watching, and thank you for my patrons who made this video possible.
Man.
Special thanks to Irish Thunder.
Sometimes you just hear what like audience reaction to things are, and you just want to give up.
Head to patreon.com/historyclarified to support the channel. I hope you enjoyed watching, and as always,
Every country has movies about being racist. Like, it's not something we can ignore anymore.
This one is the Mill Mi-26. It's a massive helicopter. Before we get started, by the way, I've got something to say about massive helicopters. When I was at school, every year, this giant Chinook, I was in the cadets, like where you pretend to be soldiers, and every year...
Oh, was he in Canada?
Chinook would come, and it would land on one of the school fields and take the cadets up for like this tour on this giant helicopter around, and it was awesome. And I was like 12 years old, and there was nothing I was looking forward to more than getting on this giant helicopter. And then by the time I'm 14 and I could join the cadets, they didn't do the helicopter trips.
What?
I'm very bitter about helicopters. Anyway.
Wow! Whose soccer mom bitch ruined that?
Schedules, free trial through the link below. They of course make this stuff possible, so thanks to them, and I'll tell you a little bit more.
Okay, it could have been a dad too.
Enough rambling. Let's get into the video.
But most dads are cool. They'd like be down with the helicopter ride.
If you've ever wondered whether a helicopter would be able to lift a passenger airline, I haven't, but now I do. I can confirm that not only is it possible, but the Russians did it just a few years ago. The giant workhorse that day which lifted the Tupolev Tu-135 airliner was none other than the legendary Mi-26 helicopter, the largest, most powerful helicopter to ever go into serial production. This is a true mechanical monster in the most Soviet Union kind of way. The Mi-26's vast bulk has a payload capacity twice that size of the American...
Hey, we take offense to that as Germans, you know. We've had big stuff with big engines and a lot of power too.
It's a huge machine, while its rotators have the same wingspan as an Airbus A380. But to tell you the truth of the Mi-26...
Oh, you think that is bad? As French, we build the Maginot Line, the biggest, the greatest defense in history. It is perfect, it is merveilleux, we design it so well. And the fucking Germans, they don't even bother to attack us at the Sacre Bleu, ah mon Dieu, à la merde.
Soviets always think, well, absolutely massive. You've seen enough Mega Projects videos to know that. Well, hopefully. Maybe this is the first one you've ever seen. In that case, welcome to Mega Projects. Go back and watch the old stuff if you want to, no pressure. The prototype, named MIL V12, remains to this day the largest helicopter ever to be built. It had a brief, short-lived history in which it shattered numerous world records while also laying the blueprints of what would come.
Oh my god, that looks like some Studio Ghibli thing.
V12 with the registration SSSR21142. Important information there, took to the skies for the first time on the 10th of July 1968, lifting with it a world record 31 tons to an altitude of 2,951 meters, that's 9,682 feet. Less than a month later, that record was eclipsed on the 6th of August 1969 when it heaved 44 tons to a height of 2,255 meters, that's 7,398 feet. And I'm saying the feet here, and I know I said I'd just do metric and put the feet on screen, but that's because even though I primarily use metric, I still think of planes flying at 30,000 feet, so I feel like the comparison is useful. I mean passenger planes flying at 30,000 feet. The second prototype was also constructed but didn't fly for the first time until March 1973. While the MIL V12 had been a great success, it was discontinued in 1974, primarily because its intended use to carry heavy nuclear weapons was no longer needed. And that's not because we no longer need nuclear weapons, although that would be nice, but because we found more efficient ways to get them across the world at other people. While the MIL V12 was an astonishing record breaker, the Soviets decided they needed something smaller. The project was named Izdalay 90, or Project 90, with the designation Mi-26 coming later, and it was required to have an empty weight less than half its maximum takeoff weight. The Mi-26 was designed by Marat Tushenko, who had worked under the famed Mikhail Mil, founder of the OKB-329 Design Bureau, Moscow's primary helicopter plant, which opened in 1947 and built the first Soviet mass-produced helicopters. The Soviets already had several heavy-lift helicopters, namely the Mi-6 and the M12. At the time, the Mi-6 was the world's largest and fastest production helicopter with a top speed of 300 kilometers an hour and a wing area of 35 meters squared, but the new helicopter would need to replace it. The Mi-26 would go on to be used for both military and civilian use, but it was primarily built to be able to lug the gigantic military hardware that the Soviets had in their arsenal, such as the 13-ton amphibious carrier and mobile ballistic missiles. The idea was that they could be used in conjunction with the other mighty transportation Goliath, the Antonov AN-22, and if you've been following along with Mega Projects, you'll know that the AN-22 still holds the world record for a payload capacity of any aircraft. But while most things could be carried in the Antonov AN-22, its large landing requirements limited its use. A powerful, heavy-lifting helicopter would, therefore, be needed in order to move military hardware to more remote areas. The prototype Mi-26 got airborne for the first time on the 14th of December 1977, but the first production version didn't arrive until the 4th of October 1980. Full development was completed in 1983, and 2 years later it was being used for both Soviet military and commercial
kits.
The Mi-26 has the distinction of being
Revna. How's it going, Revna?
with a single 8-blade main lift rotor made of titanium and is powered by two 11,000 horsepower Ivchenko Progress AI-136 turboshaft engines. The helicopter is capable of operating on only one engine in the event of the other failing. I guess that's what 11,000 horsepower gets you. The Mi-26 has a payload capacity of up to 20 tons, which is roughly the same as 11 family-sized cars. It comes with an empty weight of just over 28 tons, making it the second heaviest helicopter ever after the MIL V12. The helicopter measures 40 meters in length and has a height of 8.1 meters. In terms of
good morning, I guess.
It can accommodate 90 combat-ready troops, 63 seated civilians, or when things are dire, 60 stretchers. The crew of 5 is composed of 2 pilots, a flight engineer, a navigator, and a flight technician. The Mi-26 has a maximum speed of 295 kilometers an hour and a range of 800 kilometers. Its service ceiling is 4,600 meters, the height of 14 Eiffel Towers, but it would rarely go anywhere near this. Now, before we get into some more incredible facts and stats and stories about this absolute beast of a helicopter, let me thank today's sponsor, the Great Courses Plus. You can learn from the world's best professors on the Great Courses Plus. Now, if you're enjoying this channel and you really wanted to dive more into sort of the detailed engineering, the science behind it all, look, I'm not a professor. I don't know all of that incredible stuff, but you know who does have great professors? The Great Courses Plus. They're not going to let you down when it comes to learning some engineering. Indeed, they've got a whole course, 29 lectures, all about the science of flight. It's a great watch. If you're enjoying this one, you'll probably love it. Basically, the Great Courses Plus is a university education, but it's at your own pace. There are no tests, no schedules, and it's incredibly easy to access. PC, tablet, phone, however you like. They've also got audio streaming, super convenient, so you can listen and learn on the move. And there are thousands of lectures to choose from. So it's great stuff. Try it for free. Get a free trial at thegreatcoursesplus.com/megaprojects or click the link in the description below. Of course, doing that supports the show, keeps me making more Mega Projects videos, and let's get back to it. By the time the Mi-26 came into service, the Cold War was already winding down, but the world's most powerful helicopter had still seen plenty of action. One of the earliest programs that the Mi-26 was involved with was the Buran space program. When the 225 was initially designed to be able to carry the Buran space shuttle on its back, something that it only did once. Before this, the Soviets had the idea of using the Mi-26 to transport the shuttle, but tests proved dangerous, and they were fortunately abandoned. On the 26th of April, 1986, reactor number 4 at the Chernobyl nuclear power station exploded. In the coming days, weeks, and months, as many as 30 specially designed Mi-26s took part in the operation to prevent an all-out nuclear disaster. An even worse nuclear disaster. The helicopters were used both to measure radiation above the reactor and also drop insulating.
Hey, it's the Stalker origin story.
Came with a filter system and protective screens mounted in the cabins to protect the crew from radiation. But how much this really worked, we don't know. Soviet Union about this stuff.
I think I remember hearing something about that being a misquoted thing. Helicopters and bumblebees not being able to fly.
The first video on this channel, or one of the first at least, go back and check it out if you fancy it. Anyway, no question the most bizarre use of this giant helicopter occurred in October of 1999.
Because if they can do it, then it's not, you can't say that's according to physics. They do it, so it's in accordance with physics. I think what it what it actually works out to is something like we don't know the specific method in which certain somethings work in an aerodynamic tunnel, but we understand how the lift and thrust and stuff works. It's just like, I forget.
It was fine, but we're sorry to report that the Mammoth was definitely dead upon arrival and currently sits in an ice cave in Katanga where it still is studied by scientists. Maybe it'll wake up when they thaw it. It won't. In 2002, 2 American Chinook helicopters went down in the mountains of Afghanistan at altitudes of 2,600 meters, 8,500 feet, and 3,100 meters, 10,200 feet. The Americans do, of course, have their own heavy lifting helicopters, but the weight of the Chinooks exceeded the maximum payload of 9 tons that the US's military Sikorsky CH-5.
Or here, let's
There was only one helicopter that would be able to do the job. Now the US was certainly not.
See if there's a video for that. Yep. These can't fly. Accordion. Oh hey, wouldn't you know it? From the same guy.
To be the smartest person in the room. Want all your news in a single later.
So let's see. He's usually pretty scientifically accurate.
The fact that the humble bumblebee defies all known laws of physics every time it flaps its tiny little bee wings and ascends to the sky.
Tiny little bee wings.
Bumblebees fly all the time. If every time a bee took off it was tearing physics apart, we'd probably realize that that was the case when the planet was slowly consumed by millions of initially tiny bee-sized black holes. And certainly, if this was the case,
Wasps are awesome though. Like, I know people think they're terrible, but wasps are actually a very useful animal. Like, they're sort of like flying frogs. They eat a lot of parasite insects.
Of the bumblebee, you'll find that it actually shouldn't be able to fly so long as you don't take into account.
What if I used a British accent for my streams? Would people like that?
And how did this myth?
The only thing is, what kind of accent should I use? Should I use like a...
Many years ago, an engineer and an entomologist
Should I do like a northern accent, you know, like Cockney kinda? something a little more in that round, or should I do the refine receive pronunciation, which is much more representative of the Queen? Oh, you're going to kill British Kyonko, are you? Well, I'm on board with you, boy, oh sonny Jim boy. Tell you what, I'll grab the Claymore and we'll Gilkun gain down to the boy spring and we'll, after I grab the Stingwake, we'll make him quick on the boy. Hey, what do you say, man? Ah, don't be a stipe-snip, you bloivin guytin. I swear, back when I was a kipper snip, we used to slag up on the boil all day. I can do Scottish, I can do Irish, and I can do British. My favorite to do is Irish, though. I really like doing the Irish accent because you don't hear it as much. And it's actually it reminds me a lot of how people in Canada speak out on the what's it called there, the East Coaster. Yeah, a lot of people out on the East Coast, they speak kind of like this. They got the jibber jabber.
It perhaps isn't too much of a stretch that this was read by a few professors who then repeated it to students, some of whom became professors, and the cycle then repeated itself. This sort of thing happens all the time.
By the way, if you're ever out in the East Coast, get some Jim Jams. They're wonderful things. Jim Jams are one of the best things ever made. It's just a jam cookie, but it's fucking the best.
Which isn't true in the slightest. We've got more on that in an upcoming video. If you're interested, be sure to subscribe, and when you're down there, you know what you.
So there you go, bumblebees.
Okay, so going back to bee flight, for the calculations themselves, scientists, engineers, and entomologists have gone to great lengths to discredit them, as the original calculations failed to take
No, not the bees! Ah, they're in my eyes!
And please make sure you are sitting down before you hear this next part, because it's going to come as quite a shock. Bees do not fly like airplanes. I know, right?
What?
What's important is that they don't have stiff, rigid wings when flapping. With that in mind, the original calculations, which were based mostly on the surface area of insect wings and their weight, comparing this to what sort of lift this could produce.
There you go.
Applicable to the way fixed-wing aircraft fly.
I thought it was something like that, some misinterpretation of something.
Bees particularly fly in an incredibly complex way. In an overly simplistic nutshell, it's via flapping their wings more or less front to back, while simultaneously rotating them appropriately to create that lift, and in fact also creating little low-pressure vortices in the air above their wings to further help with said lift. This front and back motion also allows them to create lift both on the forward and back strokes. To find this out, scientists have conducted a variety of experiments using the most awesome one being Chinese scientist Zhang Zheng and his team, who devised a system comprised of lasers.
What's your job? I test how bees fly.
The experiment was
it's like you're a Chinese guy doing that. Some American guy gets wind of it and is like, "Oh my God, the Chinese are weaponizing bees. They're studying how they fly." Oh, thank you for the follow, Revna.
Tiny laser beams at bees covered in shiny body armor is going to be the next big sci-fi channel hit. So remember that you heard it here first. But in any event, the way bees and other comparable creatures fly,
Bees with laser beams.
Research into the subject has been backed by various.
So where we basically literally get Buck Bumble. Right about now, it's time to rock with the biggity Buck Bumble. Right about now, it's time to rock with the biggity Buck Bumble. Bum to the boom to the bump to the bass. Bum to the boom to the bumble. Bum to the boom to the bump to the bass. Bum to the boom to the bumble. Put him in the map, put him in the map. Put him in the map, put him in the map. Put him in the map, put him on map. Put him in the Monte Ula de. Eh. It's a catchy song.
I mean, you're already doing quite well because you're watching Today I Found Out, but the 1440 daily.
I thought I was following you. I'm sorry. That's okay. That's okay. It's not,
About to go asking the Russian government for.
It's not even so much about, like,
Greetings, blurbs. This is a thing.
followers. It's like, it's more about who's watching you when you're on. Because you can have a lot of followers, but if no one watches you, then it's like, shit.
Job stress, a 30-minute stress management session with your PC.
British Kyonko is my nightmare.
From Disc.
Oi, mate, you having a laugh? Swear on my mum, I'll give you a clap, I will.
I'm sure this software is amazing too. There's no screenshots on it. I've not looked.
I
Up
mean,
any screenshots
technically,
about
I
it. I
am
just know that
like
it exists.
sort of
This is a
British,
movie in
since
my hands.
Canada is like
Works in PCs, 18
kind of
It's got
tied
a
into the
good
British
game. It works
crown.
on computers.
Not kind of, we
It
are,
was
but
something that was originally sold
not really.
as software, etc. This is another reason that I
It's
was
like we
drawn
don't
to it.
exactly
And
have
man,
dukes
those
or
software
kings
etc.
or like
studios.
any kind of
I
regional
love
like
them.
royalty
My
in
friends at the
Canada.
store back in the day, also known as Babbage's, and yeah. Anyway, it's a little squished, but whatever. Coping
Squished.
with job stress. You know, sometimes I feel a little squished too in that regard, so I relate to this. And I don't actually know when this was made. I haven't actually seen any dates on here, so I just don't know what to expect. I mean, there's a 1987 USA Today quote. Well, it's not really a quote, is it? It's more like saying that, yeah, USA Today says that on-the-job stress counts for 80% of daily stress, and it's a presentation type approach to dealing with that, how to feel better physically and emotionally. You know what, dang it, during these times, this feels like the perfect software. So, let's go ahead and open it up and check it out. In fact, I don't know, how much did this cost? I'm trying to look at the sticker pricing there, but it looks like that is thoroughly marked through. So I don't even know how much this used to cost. Anyway, coping with job stress. Well, let's open it up. And I'm absolutely keeping that sticker.
Step 1, quit that shitty job.
How are you guys doing?
Step 2, find a job you enjoy.
To cope with my job stress. I'm doing pretty good. Okay.
Fresh wrapper. I hate plastic, but man, unwrapping something fresh is like...
And this cover, too.
Oh my god, what have I done with my life?
A wonderful mood. Yeah. And I mean, look, I like this.
It's like sending the message like coping with job stress is to just give up and haunch over your desk.
And all she has are papers. There's no social media. No, like, phone notifications. Okay, this doesn't want to come off of there. What in the world? It's like it's...
What in the world?
I've never seen it. Okay, oh. What in the world?
What the heck are clips not working? Let me check.
Of all the packages I've opened for computer software over the years, I have never seen that. Look, it's like folded underneath in the box. Gotta get me a thing to cut that apart. Because, yeah, it is not coming off of there at all. Sure. You know, whatever. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. This flap went into the side here. What in the cheapness? All right.
Oh, okay. I have it set so...
What a stupid package. No wonder it all crumpled in on itself.
Okay.
It's just, wow. It is just a load of folded cardboard.
Colded fardboard.
Man, I've seen cereal boxes that are made more sturdily than this. More long-lasting, that's for sure. What a waste. All right. There we go. Coping with job stress, the health and fitness series. Good old discount software. Comprehensive instructions are in the program, so it doesn't need a manual, I suppose. Yeah, let's get this installed on a PC and cope with some stress from jobs. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get coping with some job stress. And let's just get it installed on the wood grain 486. And apparently we're just supposed to type in stress. What a perfect...
Give me 2 seconds, Lenolal. I'm trying to see why it's not letting you post links. So I thought I made you a mod. Timeout message. Yeah. Are you logged in? Oh, you lost your account. Okay, because I gotta... Because you can't post anything unless I make you a VIP, a mod, or something like that. So I think maybe you have to do something to confirm your account before I can do that. But yeah, let me know. I'll try to add you as mod. Post the links in the Discord, and I'll post them here myself.
Just going to copy everything over to the C drive, run it from there. And yes, I have already imaged the disk. It's already up on archive.org. Check the description for the link. Although I believe there's already a playable version of this on the MS-DOS player thing on archive.org anyway. So, but yeah, the disk image if you're really desperate for that. Ooh, we got some CGA. Coping with job stress. Oh, that. Okay. Developed by. Oh, permission to print out menu items. F6. What? This is an educational program. It is not intended. Ah! I'm getting stressed out. Whenever you see the enter in the lower right corner of the screen, press the return key. Press it now. Man, this is not doing a good job of de-stressing me. I am already feeling pressured. It just pushed right through that, didn't it? Anyway, all right. Select area using function keys. Right, so we have introduction to stress. Oh, good. I'm already introduced. I don't need that. Procedure to reduce stress. Scene 1, Scene 2. Read the manual, print the manual, print a stress worksheet. All right, let's just read the manual. Let's see what we got here. All right, cool. It is possible to reduce significantly the amount of destructive stress in your life. Well, that's good. The approach presented in this program has been used successfully by thousands of people. Lack of recognition. You are very conscientious about your job, but your supervisor, what? Doesn't acknowledge. Oh, we just got a whole bunch of fiction here about my job, apparently. What is all this? Just, okay, whatever. Let's just introduce ourselves. Oh, those graphics. Those little stressful people.
Oh my goodness! Oh my gracious! Oh gosh!
With other people, changing them from destructive to constructive. All right, I hope those people look like that. If they did, I'd feel a lot less stressed.
No stress, bro.
Situations and events, circumstances in your life, in a healthy, constructive way. All right.
Oh my gosh, this isn't even a program. This is like just screens.
Either one. Either one, really. Stress can be desirable and can be harmful.
This reminds me of like people that learn to use Visual Basic and like.
The fact that this text is not centered and is going all the way like down below the middle and across, whatever.
Rawr.
Oh, no. Stress is desirable because the only body that's totally free from stress is a dead one. However, these little things. I'm feeling better already. I don't know about you.
They like draw those using like
it's a factor in many illnesses. Yes, indeed.
Coordinate instructions.
Can lower your productivity. Yes, yes. Oh no, he's got spikes in his head. Stress is the tension and other physiological reactions. Okay. What? Oh, I'm supposed to fill in the blank. Tension, I think. And other physiological reactions. Experience in.
I'll show you a physiological reaction, bub.
Other reactions in your body because you have a need to quench your thirst. Such stress is mild. He doesn't look mildly stressed, man. Looks more like a Cenobite. Oh no!
It's actually not really mild. Like, even mild dehydration can decrease your concentration and focus significantly. Like, it's pretty amazing the difference it can make if you just drink water throughout the day.
Somebody paid for this. Your brain and nervous system sensing that your life is in danger prepares your body to take drastic action. Oh dear, he's dying. Your heart is faster, sending extra blood to your brain and skeletal muscles.
Oh no, he got isekai'd!
Run over?
Bro, you got isekai'd! How's your work stress gonna go away?
This really is like a presentation. Like
God
saying,
is
back at the base or
dead,
whatever, front box,
and
something.
we have killed him.
I can imagine somebody just, yeah, sending this to somebody's HR department, and then they send their employees to go and look at this or something. This is just the silliest, wonderful thing. Oh my goodness. You may even have a heavy workload, but if your head is, if you need, your need is to do one thing at a time.
Share the load, Mr. Frodo.
Yeah, exactly that. Good stress.
It's like, this goes from rar to, oh God, keep it away. Ah! Rar, keep it away. Rar, keep it away.
Fantastic. This is better than I ever thought it would be.
Mime.
You know, I see
Help, I'm stuck in a box. I'm stuck in a box.
But they should have, man. This is great. How likely is it that you'll be able to do that? Oh, the question marks. Wow, this really is just a presentation. At least this part. I'm assuming the rest of it's probably going to be like little interactive bits, you know, filling out things. Okay, self-talk is a software for your mental computer. That's, you know, kind of a way to put it. The job of your mental computer is to ensure your survival and well-being. It takes the instructions from your self-talk. That's a wonderful design.
Oh, thank you.
Look at that, man. This is a...
I know you were following before, but thank you
5
anyways.
drives, 2 hard disks, a crazy color thing, because you got brightness, contrast, and power. Crazy. Well, you can tell your mental computer... Well, when you tell your mental computer, I can't feel good when I have this much work, it has no option but to try and change the situation so you have less work.
Oh, that's what it was. I had to add you as a friend. Now I can probably mod you once you accept.
I don't know if you call it advice, but just like ways to frame the ideas.
I can't believe I didn't know. It's because I guess I thought you were already friended me, so I didn't notice like it said add friend. Or I guess I thought it just always says that. It doesn't like change. Whatever. Internet technology.
There are 6 steps you can take to manage the situation. We'll list the 6. We'll use them. Cool. State the unwanted reality situation you have been resisting and feeling emotionally bad about.
Everything.
Scheduling. Oh, that's stressful. Brainstorm possible actions. Be beneficial.
I hope this helps someone.
Schedule 1 year. Sure. Seems reasonable. Can you think of anything else you might do to improve the situation? I don't know what happened with the text or whatever. It's totally not working right. Because it is all kind of
It's fucking roll!
If the answer is no, realize that at this moment you have done your very best to improve the situation. Stress. Let's review them.
Basic need to feel good. No benefit in resisting. Resisting is destructive. Let's read those back. Basic need to feel good. Okay, I can agree with that. No benefit in resisting. Resisting is destructive. Okay, I think this is starting to sound like a manual on like something bad. Accepting is not approving. Choice to accept or resist. Willingly accepted. It's just so complicated. It's so complicated. Instead of like just talking to people like a human being, like, well, you know, sometimes you have rough stuff. What's bugging you? What can we talk about?
I willingly accept and move on. When able to accept the unwanted situation, you have managed your emotions. Alright, here we go. Situations. At the main screen, choose either scene 1 or scene 2. Sent to. Woohoo!
Sent to?
What kind of scent is that? Oh dear. Okay, fine then. I hope there's more stick people. There is! Okay, you put out a lot of work in your job. A coworker puts out very little. Your supervisor continually gives more work to you than your coworker. Indeed. Been there. I understand that feeling. How you feel? You feel frustrated and angry. You think to yourself, it isn't fair. In just a few words, how would I state my unwanted reality? The unwanted reality. Okay. 5 swear words. That sounds about right. Oh dear, look at all these. Quit your job, apply for a transfer, complain to your supervisor. Oh my
It
goodness.
just leads to more stress.
Promo, qualified counselor, these all sound pretty decent. Read self-development, boodle, book. That's
Book.
text. I don't know what's going on with that, man.
Book.
It could be an incompatibility with the graphics card in here. It is a VGA card. Maybe it's just meant for CGA only. Who knows? I was seeing those file dates on the disc as well. Some of them are dated like, I mean, they range from like 87 to all the way to 89. So this could be rather old and was just sort of re-released multiple times. Wait, what? Some are right, some are wrong? Oh.
You're not allowed to quit your job.
That's my way of dealing with stress.
Don't quit your job. Deal with it. Stay miserable forever.
You know, okay, so we pretty much get the idea here. It is very much a
What is it with that? There's like this unbelievable pressure in a lot of cases where it's like, don't ever quit your job. Don't ever leave your job. Like, you know, if you're with a job, you got to stay with it. No, you don't.
Wow, that's a way to step into a headspace right there. Do you realize that there is no benefit in resisting the unwanted reality that you cannot change at this time? I do. You're already doing everything you're able and willing to do to improve the situation. Resisting the situation doesn't change you one bit. You know, good philosophy, good way of looking at it. I realize that things, good times. You willing to, yeah. Good, I've repaired my
It's not really stress management. It's just teaching you how to give up.
I don't have a printer hooked
It's
up.
not stress management. That's just apathy.
You can apparently
You can see why like a boss would like this, because they look over and it's like, yeah, this is what my employees need. They just need to be reminded to never give up, do everything I need, look past my abuse.
They did look a little sick though, didn't they? Oh, no more stick people? That's the best part. Man, you pretty much just have to... What? Sorry, that choice is not available. The all caps genuinely stresses me out more than anything else in my life today. Alright, well that is the stress program.
Print a stress worksheet.
It's a stupid little thing, and I like these stupid little things. This kind of software that just exists, and totally was a thing at one point that was sold in stores, in a box, a very terrible, crappy box, but a box nonetheless. Neat. You want to check it out? Links in the description for both the disc image and the playable version on archive.org.
Hey guy, welcome back to, I think it's Thursday, but does it really matter if I'm wrong? So it's been a while since I've talked about a bad movie on this channel. The reason being, I haven't watched any. After my Christmas movie marathon, I realized the best bad movies are the ones that I find on accident, so I stopped seeking them out. I decided if I was going to discover one, it was going to happen or...
When I think of nostalgic shows from the turn of the millennium, I don't always go to Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, or whatever this garbage is.
Thumb Wars!
Cartoons and weird sitcoms was equally matched by my love.
Man, what was Winx Club? It was a weird show.
There was so much good stuff back then, from the Walking With saga, Eyewitness, and you can bet I'm including those cryptozoology shows too. Give me that weird purple Monster Quest eye. I live for weird purple Monster Quest eye. But the center for my interest in the natural world, the planet, was Animal Planet. Early 2000s Animal Planet shows were bomb. From the planet's funniest animals, the most extreme in Death Battle Before Death Battle, Animal Face-Off. Wow. But the Anchor Show, the show that opened the door for Animal Planet's viability as a channel and the gateway for my love of this genre, the Jeff Corwin Experience. But today we're talking about The Crocodile Hunter. The Crocodile Hunter has to be the single most iconic nature series or even possibly documentary series ever. Hosted by married couples Steve and
Oh, sure, just throw, like, friggin' Sir David Attenborough under the bus.
episode, the two would usually go into heavy populated areas to capture and relocate rare or dangerous animals to a safer place. Of course, the highlight of the show would be how up close and personal Steve would get, often putting himself into very dangerous situations, which he would acknowledge with his signature catchphrase. Uh-oh. But his much more iconic phrase, crikey, would be the one to catch on. The Crocodile Hunter show and the Irwins themselves became global phenomenons, using most of the attention to funnel money back into their conservation efforts and into the zoo itself. But like every other pop culture icon, there was merchandise, there was games, there was live show appearances, and of course, cash grabs. At the peak of this popularity came a feature film, a Crocodile Hunter theatrically released film, Crocodile Hunter Collision Course, which is one of
I remember that movie.
most insanely creative films I have ever seen. So
I don't remember it, but I remember it existing.
Documentary series into a feature film? Would they go global?
Remember it got like slammed.
Would they have to hunt two crocodiles and change the name of the movie to Crocodiles Hunter? Or maybe they would
Crocodiles Hunter.
No.
We're getting 2 crocodiles this time. No joking around.
You animals and turned it into a high-stakes political thriller.
Okay, that's a nice touch.
I didn't expect the best film ever made so soon. So the movie starts with a spy satellite exploding and its hard drive content crashing to Earth.
Oh yeah, and then like a crocodile eats it, and that's why Steve is like, I gotta find it.
The satellite's hard drive, quote, has enough documentation to change the power structure of the modern world and whatnot. And I'm just over here like, this is pretty high stakes for Steve Irwin.
Have a look at this. Pooh. I'm gonna save this for later.
I think what makes this film so purely fascinating is the fact that it's literally 2 separate films that have very little to do with it. There's 3 storylines going on. There's a rural living Australian lady wanting to shoot a big crocodile, 2 groups from 2 branches of the US government competing to find the satellite hard drive so their superiors can get promotions, and the Irwins filming an episode of their show, totally unaware of the goings-on of the other 2 plot lines.
Oh, crikey.
While everything to do with the government plotline is filmed with a studio-level crew, all of the Irwin's scenes were filmed on location in Australia, presumably with his standard documentary.
It's like, one person clearly put a lot more effort into making this.
And is presented in 2 separate aspect ratios.
Oh no!
Stealing stupid idiot. So there's this whole other plotline going on with this lady who owns
Using babies as bait.
to murder this big old lizard because it's trying to eat her cows. But luckily, the
That croco ate my cowbee!
located. But this isn't any ordinary crocodile. This is a pretty big crocodile. But unknown to the Irwins, the croc has chomped and swallowed the hard drive from the satellite, which crashed in Australia. The US government discovers Steve has the hard drive in his possession.
I wonder what they let the crocodile swallow, like, as a satellite.
Because that has such a child-writing science fiction charm and innocence to it. So while the Irwins think they're just taking a crocodile to a safer location, the US government believes that they are a part of some anti-government conspiracy and must be stopped before they change the
And then it turns into Mad Max.
And the reason why they think this is because while the Irwins have gone, all around the world to film their documentary series, they often happen to be in places during times of political turmoil and unrest.
In 98, they were in Kenya when our embassy was targeted, and in East Timor in 99. Just happens.
Holy
Coincidence? I think not!
in the US government to get to some pond to release the crocodile. But Steve just thinks the US government are poachers, so he keeps running from them. This is such a wild plot for the Crocodile Hunter movie. Like, every single time I see a little text box that's like CIA headquarters, I can't help but to laugh, because it's just so absurd. Like, I think you could make a Crocodile Hunter movie be a simple plot, like poachers versus Steve Irwin. That is enough. But this is a
Some guy is like, this is gonna be my auteur vision. This is it. Crocodile Hunter the movie. This is gonna have my name on the map. After this, I'm gonna be a made man.
from the Animal Planet to fund political unrest throughout the world. Does the Animal Planet have that
No, I mean, like, they filmed the crocodile eating something. I wonder what they, gave it to eat as, like, a prop or that they knew would be safe. Or if they had, like, they didn't feed it a satellite, it would have been a prop. I just wonder what that prop was made out of. If it was like a rock or, like, just some meat thing.
The Irwins can't act. I can't get it. She's thrashing too hard. But that's okay. That's not what they were known for. But oh, that wasn't acting.
Nice.
The Irwins weren't involved in the
Dang,
other side of the
Steve.
production. Steve was actually the animal wrangler for the film, even serving as a stunt double for the farmer character. However, this is like a weird pro wrestling version of
Nothing weird to say here. Just Aussie cross-dressing. You know, every once in a while you just gotta put on those pretty britches and get in touch with your female side.
So while he actually is in the water going with that crocodile, it was a more controlled environment. So they could continue working with the same crocodile for longer stretches as they filmed. The crocodile itself is just a member of the zoo. So the Irwins and the crew went out and filmed a basic informative documentary about some of Australia's wildlife. Then their segments were chosen and edited, and the film's script was rewritten so those particular animals chosen could participate in the movie's climax. It's just this weird production. But during most of the production, the Irwins were actually left pretty unaware of what the film's final story would be, which is why it comes across so genuine that they're unaware of the plot of the film in the film, because they literally weren't aware of it. For the most part, the story is just this dull, slow-moving, bore you to tears kind of thing. But then the Irwins are on screen, and oh hell yeah, animals! But then the government agents are on screen, and it's insufferably boring. I just want to be
Is that one of the Baldwins? It looks like one of the Baldwins.
something kind of boring. Then Steve is on screen, and everything is good in the world. God, he was such a charisma engine! And then the rural lady's on screen, and it's just like, what's her deal? Oh boy, Steve's got a snake!
What a beauty. I'd call it her because I'm in love with her now.
What we got here?
Beautiful hole, and that's what stimulates the spider.
This movie has a lot going on. The scenes with all of the government agents are so boring. It feels like Austin Powers with no jokes. Like they take the story so seriously, but it's all so ridiculous. We might as well be watching a movie where one half is the Irwins showing off the animals, and the other half is an actual documentary about the Discovery Network's accounting firm working out the budget for the next season.
That Joey clearly does not want to be held.
Alright, Steve, I got it. I hear you. Steve, stop yelling at me. The whole film is waiting for these timelines to merge. But when everything finally comes to a head, it doesn't disappoint.
Mate, this bloke's off the Richter scale.
Yeah! Steve doesn't enter their world, they come to him and they say thank you when he punches them in the face. Steve turning to the camera here has got to be one of the highlights in the entire canon of cinema. It's such a sobering reminder of what you're watching. A bit of a mess. Apparently, Steve was just told the basic premise on the day of filming, and they filmed and improvised all of the scenes together. Just so Steve didn't really have to act. He could just pretend to react, which is kind of acting, but he's so nonchalant about it.
This bloke's trespassing on my territory.
It feels like it's just any regular episode of The Crocodile Hunter. There's even narration mid-fight. It's just like this bizarre convergence where the reality of the film comes into this weird, strange, pro-wrestling style pseudo-reality. I mean, the rest of the Irwins storyline is presented as if it's an actual documentary.
We're here in the Outback on a field study trip for the zoo. We're hoping to find some of the more unlovable of Australia's creatures for research.
Here's your food, mate. See ya.
Is he trying to kill them?
If they stay in the water long enough, the hunters will become the hunted. That's nature's way.
Oh my god, he's trying to kill them!
Welcome to the Outback, mate. Hope you survive.
Is like when a character says, "This isn't a movie in a movie." I can't think of any other film that has such a strange view of reality. Maybe Charlie Kaufman's adaptation? Wait a minute. You snake oil seller, lying, stealing son of a bitch. Steve and Terry eventually get the government agents to beat the hell out of each other for the sake of the environment. And Steve, being the weirdo he is, digs the satellite ball out of the crocodile's excrement and says, "What's this? Oh, I don't give a fuck," and he chucks it over a cliff. But then it finally happens. The government finally catches Steve. But fortunately, Steve and the US government come to an agreement, and the government agents and the farmer are forced to work at the zoo. Because I needed closure to that story. The movie ends with a blooper reel just to confirm that these events are not canon to the Crocodile Hunter lore. It's one of those, like, side anime movie spin-offs. And
The Crocodile Hunter Gaiden.
Elton John's Crocodile Rock, performed by the Baha Men. Just in case you wanted to know who let the dogs out. Wow. What a movie. The Crocodile Hunter collision course is such a trip. It's such a trip. I sincerely cannot think of another movie that's pieced together like this. I'm trying. For the most part, this movie is just like a fever dream. It's this surreal thing that feels like it was pieced together using stock footage. But if you grew up watching The Crocodile Hunter like I did, it's actually a genuinely great way to revisit it. Just feel free to talk or skip over the government parts. You really don't need to see those. Alright, so this video has been on my list for a while. I've been wanting to dive into this world for a long time, but I could not, in good conscience, make this video at this time without mentioning the Australia brush fires. I mean, it's too related to the topic. As I'm sure all of you know, the wildfires that made their way through
This is gonna date itself.
earlier this year and towards the end of last year has done insane amounts of damage. So in the description down below, I linked the World Animal Protection Charity, which is one of the highest rated charities tackling this issue from a standpoint
I'll
of
find something else to
environmentalism and
watch.
conservationism. So I know I can't convince
Dun 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 ba-da-dun dun 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 ba-da-dun dun dun da-da-da-da-dun da-da-da-da-da bum da bum da bum da bum da bum da bum da bum. Ooh, I'm gonna judge this guy for all 58 Disney movies ranked worst to best.
Disney has been the leading force in animated features.
I'm gonna guess his favorite is
The vast majority of which are universally beloved and considered timeless. Following my series of videos ranking the Disney animations by era, I will now rank all 58 features of the Walt Disney Classics canon.
I'm gonna go out and say number one goes to Beauty and the Beast.
Focuses strictly on the films of Walt Disney Animation, those made
We'll
by
see how high
Disney
Beauty and the Beast ends up.
Disney Channel will not be included. Neither will such titles as The Wild and Valiant, which were released under the Disney banner but not actually made by Disney.
Not actually made by Disney.
Coming in at number 58, Home on the Range.
Yeah.
Boisterous and chock full of juvenile comedy, terrible characters, mediocre songs, and a
Hey, no, the songs are like the one redeeming part of the movie.
lacks all the heart and soul of the classics. As the film which killed traditional animation at Disney, it deserves bottom place.
It's not their fault, it was just terribly managed. And it shows by this being like, didn't they put this out right after Home on the Range?
Characters, dated pop culture references, and pop cartoons, and painfully subpar animation, it has absolutely no Disney charm. There was no excuse for this poorly and cheaply produced film to ever hatch in this state. 56. Dinosaur. This film saw the studio experimenting with CG animation by utilizing a hybrid workflow. However, with cartoony characters, this ultra-realistic style makes for a film that feels a little too uncanny valley. 55. Saludos amigos. The result of a
Oh.
government-sanctioned goodwill tour of the Latin Americas to
Oh, I'm thinking of the Three Caballeros. That's a good one.
42-minute movie feels nothing
But
more
yeah,
than a
this
piece
is...
of propaganda.
Yeah.
However, much of it fails to actually represent the culture accurately, with silly gags that go against the grain of what's trying to be done. 54. Make Mine Music.
That's a pretty
The
good
most
one.
proper package feature and the most hodgepodge of them all, throwing together 10 random shorts of sporadic length, all completely polarizing with no concise theme or structure, stringing them together.
Yeah, kind of like
Therefore,
Fantasia.
The entire thing is a laborious and frustrating feat to trudge through. 53. Melody Time. Likewise, stitching together shorts of various lengths and absolutely no concise thread, this is yet another struggle to get through. It does, however, feature great experimentation in animation, which makes it a markedly more enjoyable feature. 52. The Sword in the Stone. With Walt less invested creatively due to a preoccupation with other ventures, the movie struggles to stay consistent, jumping
I feel like
between
this is
scenes
way
so
too low. I really
rapidly
like
that it
this
becomes
one.
a hodgepodge of disconnected sequences and over-the-top
I would have rated it
slapstick
at least
comedy
higher than The Black
more requiring
Cauldron
substance
or
than just its other features.
101
51.
Dalmatians.
Brother Bear. Kicking off
Definitely
with
higher
a
than Brother
super
Bear.
serious intro sequence, it soon spirals into an overly cutesy, family-oriented fantasy comedy. While both film sections are great in their own right, and despite telling a gorgeous, touching story filled with beautiful morals, the movie ultimately feels incredibly muddled and ill-paced. 50. The Fox and the Hound. Marking a turning point for the studio, this notably marked the arrival of the new guard of artists. As an in-between film, there is a jumbled feel, with
Yeah, I definitely
juxtaposition
probably
between
put this one
experienced
higher.
and inexperienced artists in
That might have to be my next tier list I do. I'll have to rate Disney movies.
generic, despite having a beautifully heartfelt story. 49. Oliver and Company. This is one I find to be quite generic and
1 minute.
uninteresting. However, the hip, modern spin on the Disney formula, characters, setting, and music is ultimately
And
what
it has
makes the
Bette
film work.
Midler.
It's the type of
Ooh,
quality
Bette
that gets
Midler.
and feels incredibly dated. 48. Black Cauldron.
Oh, Revna,
Possibly one of the
bye-bye.
most
Check your
Disney movie
messages.
ever, thanks to its dark tone and inferior quality. While a decent showcase of artistic design which shows promise and desire, its character animation is rigid and its stilted narrative is slow and tiresome. Overall, not a great film. 47. Treasure Planet. It's an exciting, visually stunning adventure full of great heart, fantastic characters, and a terrific cast, but a film I've never been able to find a personal connection to. It's a movie that seems terrific on the surface, but never quite hits the mark for me. 46. Fantasia 2000. At its core, it gets the heart of the original film down beautifully, but doesn't work as well. While I have a huge respect and admiration for the exquisitely realized sequences, they don't seem to complement each other as well as those in the original, which were all tied together thematically and artistically. 45. Fun and fancy-free. A package feature which presents two shorts. Mickey and the Beanstalk is a lot of fun, while Bongo is a little tedious and boring. These are two shorts that are so vastly different narratively and artistically that they just don't feel like they belong together. 44. Meet the Robinsons. For only their second fully CG animation, this is a beautifully animated film, with fantastic character designs and dazzling colours. It has an eclectic cast of characters who are zany and hilarious, and while narratively muddled, it's beautifully heartfelt and a highly enjoyable madcap screwball adventure. 43. The Three Caballeros. A wonderfully spectacular film that does everything Saludos culturally respectful way. Straying from the propaganda formula, it instead focuses on a series of wonderful animated segments that truly capture the spirit and culture of Latin America. 42. Robin Hood. A sluggish movie with a jumbled plot
And the genesis of furries everywhere.
and grungy use of Xerox makes it feel unattractive and lazy. Despite this, it does have a certain charm. There's something in it that feels so warm, enchanting, and nostalgic. 41. The Rescuers. Dark and gloomy with subpar, overly simplistic animation and boring music. Though beneath the glum exterior, it does feature appealing characters and enjoyable moments. With the studio wanting to make it on the cheap, the heart and soul struggling filmmakers injected into it saved it from being a complete disaster. 40. Rescuers Down Under. Bright, booming, gripping, and exciting. It soared to great new heights of animation, offering an incredibly cinematic experience with a scale and scope never before seen. As the first computer-generated animated film, it created an art style that would define the future of traditional animation. 39. Frozen. A movie I simply can't get into, despite trying multiple times. I find the music and
Yeah,
characters
it's
annoying and
not a great
often connect
movie.
with the story.
Sorry.
On a technical level, however, I appreciate
Just because it made a lot of money doesn't mean it's great.
and totally respect its heart and warmth. 38. Zootopia. A movie with a really great, exciting premise, fun laughs, exciting sequences, and some fantastic characters. I love its clever, sly take on the buddy cop formula and use of modern film conventions. However, I've always felt that its modern vibe does make it feel a touch generic. 37. Wreck-It Ralph. While incredibly fun, exciting, and funny, it's never really felt Disney enough to me, feeling like it could have been made by any studio. The animation is superb, and I adore John C. Reilly's vocal performance, but it's not a film I personally connect with. 36. Ralph Breaks the Internet. A great premise with...
Wait, he rated this one higher than the first one?
It also feels convoluted and overloaded with quickly dated...
The first one was way better than the second one.
...the film from having a timeless quality. And as I did connect with the pop culture-based Easter eggs more so than the gaming-based ones from the first, I enjoy it
guess.
more. 35. Winnie the Pooh. With some great animation and a delightful story, this one does feel a little thin, especially with its anthology-like nature and 70-minute runtime. Regardless, it's an adorable movie with familiar...
Yeah, I think like 70 minutes is like the... It's like the minimum runtime for a movie to be considered a motion picture or something.
Though a little slow, sluggish, and predictable, this worked better for me than the original. The darker elements are well realized, and the more mature exploration of the world and its characters incredibly welcome. Visually, it's also perhaps the most spectacularly crafted CG animation ever. 33. Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. The most entertaining and enjoyable and best produced package film of the wartime era, bundling together two charming short features which complement each other beautifully. With Wind in the Willows and Legend of Sleepy Hollow both based...
Well, I guess it's just you and me now, Lenolal, so I think I'm gonna shut down the stream.
The Many Adventures of Winnie the
So, yeah, we'll do a goodbye here, because it's pretty much done, so... Give a nice thank you to everyone. There we go. Wait, bye. Oh. So yeah, that was a pretty good stream. I had a lot of fun. I hope others did too. Yeah, just keep making suggestions. Let me know what you guys want to do. And we'll, have some fun in the future. This sounds so awkward, oh my gosh. But yeah, like, we can play some games, or I'll play some games, and be less awkward, and yeah, I am not ending this well, I don't think. I know, I'm trying. That's all you can do, right? Keep trying. So, thank you everyone for watching, and yeah, we'll see you next time I stream, and yeah, just keep sending me tons of suggestions, ideas, stuff like that. I mean, I have ideas too, it's a lot easier if I know what, you know, people want to see and do, and then I can schedule things around it. And, you know, it's a give and take. Like, I have my own interests, but I also want to do things other people like, so. Anywho. Yeah. I feel like that BGM is way too loud. I'm probably gonna go back and hear it and really regret it. But anyways, thank you guys again. Take care and have a wonderful night. Bye-bye. Peace out. Do 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 do.